Rumble, YouTube, family, what's good? What's happening? Me, Ironwork 92,000. You, the crew, here today, True Earth Tuesday, where it happens. We keep it real. We don't keep nothing from y'all. Nothing but the truth. All gas, no brakes. That's how we do over here on True Earth Tuesday with Ironwork 92,000. Welcome, everybody. Good to have y'all here. I know some of y'all have work. Maybe everybody got work. I got work tomorrow too, right? But I welcome you and I thank you for joining us tonight here on a Tuesday night. I know it's not normally ideal, but just to break up the not the monotony, but just to break it up a little bit before we head into Friday and enjoy with the Ghost of Judah tribe. Flat Earth Friday, we do here True Earth Tuesday, right? Um, just as much love and dedication to the mission of giving you guys, giving the audience what the truth of this world is, right? We do biblical cosmology, the Bible, conspiracy theory, conspiracy talk, right? Bullshit talk, true talk, but bullshit talk from a true perspective. That's all I got to say about that. Now, all the welcoming and all the ass kissing that I've been doing so far up to this point. Um, Welcome again. But tonight we've got quite a bit to discuss. We have got quite a bit to discuss. Let me tell you. It's a countdown, right? It's a countdown. We have a few things going on. So in the next 2 weeks, Austin Whitsitt should be prepped to debate. Guess who? Yeah, you figured out. Professor Dave, right? So Professor Dave is going to go up against Austin Whitsitt, and those two are going to have a tete-a-tete, head-to-head, and to see who's the victor, right? See who's the strongest debater. Listen, at the end of the day, I've said before, I'll continue to say it. These debates, they are what they are, right? But at the end of the day, it don't matter. You could have the best speaker, you could have the best debater in the world debate the globe. The earth still is what it is, right? You could have them debate in defense of the globe all day. It don't matter. This bitch ain't curving, right? We ain't going to these exorbitant places that everybody claims that we are. And the place doesn't move. Like that's it. At the end of the day, really, we shouldn't have to bring up. Look, we shouldn't have to bring up the Most High. We shouldn't have to bring up the Hindus, the Greeks, the Babylonians. It doesn't matter. We don't have to bring those guys up. It's very nice and it's sexy, yes, but these conditions aren't met. It don't move. One, we can prove that, and or they have proven that. Two, ain't no we can prove that, right? And now with speculative evidence to prove that we can't go to these places everybody claims we can, right? Speculative evidence, like I said, evidence. I don't want to be jibber jabbering too much, as you can see at the bottom left, where my name is. Slightly annoyed today, right? Um, Austin Whitsitt has been burning himself out, and he's been doing a lot of going back and forth debating. And man, God bless the brother, man. He's a good debater. I'm not going to take that away from him. I think Austin Whitsitt is a very good asset to have in the True Earth community. At the same time, I almost feel as if he spits, right? I feel as if a smart dude like Pearl a lot of times. And even though he's to these guys, a lot of these guys are stiff-necked, they're hard of hearing, and they don't want to have any part of what his truth is. Um, Austin seems to be a very measured person, and it seems within the last year he's grown a lot, right? And he's matured a lot, and he's approached his debates. Approached his debates, and it's almost like he brings a different tool to every fight. It's a different way in which he handles his opponent, right? Which is cool. Before I continue, let me get to you guys. You guys are my furniture. Half Warrior, what's good, brother? Nano CBD in the house. Osoyo's wine tasting. Good to see you, brother. Shannon Emerson, as usual. Nano CBD, of course, of course. It's always good to see you. Miss Hill, Ida Hill, how you doing, sweetheart? Yes, yes, yes. And of course, you guys, it's always a pleasure having you guys here every night or every Tuesday night. It's always a pleasure. And every once in a while, when I catch you guys in a, in a channel like Flat Earth Banjo's channel or Austin Witzett's channel, it's always good to see the same group of people. It's like watching an episode of The Simpsons and you see the same characters wearing that same getup that they usually wear. And it's just it's something like that. That's what it reminds me of. But whatever. I'm continuing with Austin Whitsitt, right? So just watching Austin Whitsitt approach his 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 opponents every time he debates, you could see the growth, right? And, excuse me, in such a short amount of time. Which, hey, man, thumbs up to him. But before I continue with that, how do I sound? How do I sound? Do I sound good? Do I look good? I always look good, man. I kind of cut it up a little bit. I got the Julio Iglesias going on, the gold chain with the hairy chest, So, um, I always try to keep it nice, prim, and proper for y'all. But if I'm looking good and I'm sounding good, then let's press on. Yes? Yes, on, press on. That's what I'm saying. I'm a little bit choppy. Let's see. Okay, at least I sound good. That all right, we'll take a little bit. It is raining. All right. Just as a warning, it is raining slightly outside. It's a little bit cloud cover. So, the propagation of these waves going back and forth to their stations is it's not the best, right? Plus, you have to include that I've got a lot of canopy around me, so that kind of makes things a little bit crazy. But anyway, continuing with mic is good. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So the atmosphere out here is a little bit wild. It's a little bit wonky. Okay. So just bear with me. I won't make too many jerky motions. I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. But like I was saying, Austin Whitsitt has done a tremendous job growing, right? He doesn't bring the same tool to a different fight. And because of that, it seems as if his audience, even though they just get a little bit crazier and crazier, as I'll show you here later on tonight, it seems as if even his audience, his opponents start to notice this, and they they're approaching Austin and dealing with him a little bit different too. Which at the end of the day, kudos, because us as the viewers, we don't want to watch a fight. We came to watch an educated debate to see if, because we believe what we believe, right? Whether you're of the flat or you're of the globe, we want to see which side is going to sway the other side best. Who came better prepared? Who has the better argument? Who has the way to properly win the crowd? And when I say properly win the crowd, there's an improper way of winning the crowd too, right? You got guys like not flat earth, but professor, not a Professor Dave. Yeah, y'all know who I'm talking about, the cat from California. That dude that'll sit there, berate you, talk crap about you, not let you get a word in edgewise. Meanwhile, the rest of his crew is sitting there laughing, right? Because he makes it entertaining. Nothing gets done, no truth gets exposed, and nobody, it makes it look as if he's the winner when in fact he's the absolute opposite. He's the big loser in this respect, right? We could see that example when he went and he debated David Weiss, Flat Earth Dave. And it wasn't pretty. David Weiss is a nice guy, he's a cool guy, but it seemed as if that debate just wasn't on his side. it wasn't on his side. And plus the audience that was there, those three guys, and I think it was like Sean Atwood, right? He's a YouTuber himself, and he's got a pretty big channel. British dude. I think he's either British or Scottish, one of the two, one of them UK islands. Boy, him sitting there and kind of being the peanut gallery and laughing about the shit didn't help at all, right? So even while he was laughing, I kind of laughed. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, man, he's an asshole. But he made me laugh too, because I was like, man, you can't get nothing in edgewise with this dude laughing like that. You're gonna look stupid even if you're right. You know what I'm saying? So this out here, that's copied, and I'm gonna drop this in this. All right, here we go again. Yeah, that internet, boy, that internet be doing its thing, boy. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send that link once more. There we go. There goes the link. Boom, right there. There you have it. Okay. So yeah, um we're going to kick it off with one of my favorites, right? Level Earth Observer. I think every time he gets on and he makes a video, he does not waste his time. He doesn't mince his words, and at the same time, he doesn't waste his time. He's very well thought out um, YouTuber, and he produces some very, very quality content. So if you haven't already subscribed to Level Earth Observer, I highly recommend observing. I highly recommend, and I'm going to put his last show in the description box. Highly, highly, highly recommend you guys subscribe to him. Like I said, top notch content. But let's get a listen to what he has to say in regards to the madness, right? Basically, the madness that here is not only the true and level earth, what we can show, what we can prove, but what's to come in the very near future. Share, and I'll have my words. So here we go. Level Earth Observer, y'all. His latest today. Like I said, this is going to be in the description box. Let me stop running my gums, man. Let's do it.
Practicality whatsoever. When I say practicality, I mean no scientific demonstrations that actually back the globe Earth theory's absurd claims. None. All you'll get is excuses in the form of explanations. Oh, let me explain why I can't provide a scientific demonstration to back my absurd claims. If you don't believe my excuse, then I'm just going to say you don't understand physics. Even though I've not cited a physical demonstration, you don't understand imaginary physics.
And how many times do we come across these guys that say the same exact thing? It's almost as if it's like so well timed, right? Where you're like, and I believe the same thing. What Mr. Wine Tasting, I believe the same exact thing. I believe that Austin Whitsitt would absolutely demolish Flat Earth Dave. Or he's not Flat Earth Dave, excuse me, Professor Dave. But the thing is, Professor Dave has a trick up his sleeve, because I promise you, there is no other reason he's going to yell, scream, carry on, because Austin is going to try and keep that hands-off approach. He's not going to attack him. I'm telling you, it's not going to be a firefight between those two. It's going to be Austin letting him talk his shit and then trying to get a word in edgewise, I promise you. But what I was saying is that yeah, really, it's what you can prove and what you can't prove, right? What is scientifically demonstrated and what is not scientifically demonstrated, but uh basically given to you and told, and you're basically told you need to figure this out, you need to memorize this because this is what it is, with absolutely no evidence to back it up, right? Let's continue. Let me stop running my gums. Let's just watch this video.
That's what you're dealing with here when you deal with people who think reality is exactly the opposite to what can be tested and verified by all. So it's clear the globe has no practicality. And it's what's also clear is the only thing that holds this silliness together is psychology. And that becomes apparent very early on when you see how people react to questioning the globe Earth belief system. They have all sorts of defensive knee jerk reactions, some aggressive, some pantomime like. Most of them are not natural reactions that have been put there as a part of this person's experience in real life from real exploration themselves. No, they've been put there by the education system, drilled in through layers of silliness. Certain ways. What how people used to react when you first brought this subject up about questioning the shape of the earth. Cheeks would puff out, eyes would roll back, deep breaths, as whoever you were having the conversation with had all these preconceived ideas about what you were about, put there by a mainstream media, which of course can't stop lying and misrepresenting anyway. And these performances, this psychology, this pantomime performance, which the general public put up for us, entered for us, it's not even a form of entertainment at this point in time. I find it quite sad to see these people respond in the manner in which they do when you question the globe Earth theory.
And you want to know something? This is every last one of us. And one of the things we experience when we get this is everybody that denies us, what's the one thing they say? Why would they lie? Oh my God, you must be crazy. And the thing is we go into these arguments, we go into these fights with the same train of thought. Like, oh, I'm not gonna let him, her, herm, him, them, whatever, freaking knock me off my pedestal when I approach them with this truth, because now I'm very well prepared. But what you're not well prepared for, a lot of times, not all of us, but many of us, what you're not well prepared for, there might be a dozen people saying the same thing, right? A dozen people, maybe 50 people that hear the same thing. The audience that you have, you might have an engineer over there that absolutely believes, and you say you don't have a degree, right? I got two of them, by the way, one in each armpit. I'm here all week. Anyway, but say you don't have a degree. You're in a room full of people that have degrees, right? Even if it's a basket weaving degree or a degree in French or some nonsense like that. All of them are going to be sitting there ridiculing you. It doesn't matter whether they know what the specifications of this globe are. You need to be ready. If you're gonna whip it out and you're gonna show, be ready to show, be ready to have it slapped at, right? Because everybody's going to slap at it no matter how right you are, and you need to know how to recover and how to explain whether it could be demonstrated or not, right? You need to be ready at all times, even if you have to kind of script it out and go in steps and explain it in steps. You don't want to be all over this place, or rather all over the place, when you're describing what this realm is based off of what it is we can prove. Ice wall, right? We've seen videos of it, we've seen footage of much of it for like what seems like hours, right? We have writings on the ice wall, whether it's Captain James Cook, whether it's Admiral Byrd, right? I think even Roald Adamson might have written about it at one point as well. Roald Adamson has a piece of freaking there, or he's got the Adamson C. All right, good stuff. So I used to serve with Roald Adamson's great, great uh and nephew in the Navy at my last duty station. Cool dude. Um, but either way, so these guys may have or have seen the ice wall. I have not seen an ice wall. You have not seen an ice wall. So this is something that we could say, Lee, this is what's here, this is what's there, this is what they claim is here, so on and so forth. But based off of what we can prove, right? Let's continue.
Subject came up at work the other day. Let's say the other day, 2 weeks ago. Now, I haven't really had too many discussions regarding the globe Earth theory on the site I'm working at the moment. But it came on the radio. One of the lads I'm working with, banksman stroke crane supervisor, came on the radio. Within earshot of the radio was about half a dozen chippies, a couple of steel fixers, works foreman, the main boss, the banksman, crane supervisor, quite a few lads. The subject came up regarding the shape of the Earth. And I said, look, you can have some knee-jerk reactions to what, but the Earth's not a ball. I went on to state some demonstrable facts, which, of course, are true. Don't have the ability to be tested and plumb, whilst doing 4 different speeds, ludicrous speeds, in all different directions at the same time, like the globe Earth theory suggests.
Yep.
The globe believers cannot even cite a demonstration of a pendulum traveling in a straight line, remaining dead still and plumb, yet alone one that's doing ludicrous speeds in 4 different directions at once. So already you know the globe's ridiculous based on demonstrations we can test and verify for all. Things like large standing bodies of water do not have the ability to display convexity upon its surface. That's a scientific measurable fact. There is no measurable, or there is no measurement of curvature done that's been tested and verified showing large standing bodies of water displaying convexity upon its surface.
Damn.
None. There's inconclusive observations that have no practicalities to back their claims.
I think it's Phil.
But it was
So I think Leo's name is Phil. I'm sorry to interrupt that stream right there. I think it's Phil, if I'm not mistaken. Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
seen the general public are in a bit of a mess here. They think their delusional globe Earth theory is real based on the debunkers debunking stuff online, strawman maps and models that most people don't believe. Where does this end? Globe can't be proven with practicality. With the psychology, the thing that holds sway.
I had to pause that real quick because we glitched up a little bit. So back
Against
to
the
show.
grain regarding this subject, all you need to do is stand by demonstrable truths. Things like I've already stated, the water, tower, rock
Okay, back to it.
in the middle of that vacuum without solid separation. That's the claims we're told, which are impossible anyway. Because to have an air pressure system reside next to a vacuum requires solid separation, another demonstrable fact.
Yep.
Just shouting out gravity or pressure gradient just makes it worse.
Yes, it does.
Because now you've got to show an air pressure system fading out in a demonstration into a vacuum. You've just made it worse. And gravity, I use that word, but I'm going to essentially what the mainstream terms gravity, I do the way reality presents itself to us. I don't believe the heliocentric story is attached to the way reality presents itself to us as far as our vectors. I'll use the word gravity, okay?
So, Palkis, hopefully I'm not mispronouncing your name. How you doing, sir? All right, so all flat earth's related work is God's work. Yes, I agree. But I find Leo's work really meh, not well presented at all. No, well, I feel you. Everybody's got their own opinion. I like Leo's stuff because it's direct, it's to the point, and he gets his point across. You know what I'm saying? None of these extra experiments that he could easily run and say, hey, I'm wrong on this and that, and then he totally looks stupid, right? um I agree with Leo oftentimes, right? um and it's simple. He keeps things simple, which honestly, we're here to expose the truth, right? And when we expose the truth, you're going to have those fighting you, right? Trying to keep a lie, an obvious lie, in place. Whether these people are working as deliberate shills, or whether they're just their mind is so warped to the point that they can't see the truth for what it is, right? What we're doing is the we're undoing the basic lie that is the globe, with the basic foundational truth that is the level true earth, with what we can prove, that's what's so important about this. All that other stuff is sexy, it's great, yes, but if you can't prove it, then it's hard to actually swallow that. Does that make any sense, Pulchus? Does that make any sense? And that's what I love about Leo, right? He gives you stuff that you can digest, that's easily digestible, that's easily demonstrable. You don't have to sit there and like try and figure out, well, is he trying to do this? Is he trying to do that? No, he's keeping it pretty simple. You know what I'm saying? So when he does keep it simple like that, like it's good, especially for the new guy, right? Everybody else, like Austin Whitsitt and Jeranism and a lot of these other guys, they bring a lot of heavy science to the table. That there's two problems I find with that. One, a lot of the stuff, many of the lay people, many of us are lay people, right? Many of us lay folk, we don't know what the hell they're talking about. We could cheer and be like, yeah, Mickelson Morley split a freaking beam in half. And then they broke off and then they came back together when they came back. And then does anybody really know what the fuck that means? Like, be honest, does anybody truly know what that means? If you do, hey, Batman, I beat my hands for you. Means it sounds sexy, it sounds great, but it may as well be put in the same bin as the globe stuff that you've learned that sounded the same way, sounded sexy, sounded believable, but you just believed it because somebody in a place of authority fed you that nonsense. Does that make any sense? Do y'all follow what I'm talking about? So it's like, yo, all that stuff sounds great, but I can't. Like, if you have to go to a debate, where you're like, all right, I don't know what the fuck it is, but Austin said it good, then you don't know it. You don't know it. You shouldn't fucking touch it. And I'm not saying that Austin and Jaron shouldn't present those truths or what they've come across, because when you dedicate your time into doing and studying something, it becomes easier to understand, right? To whether you understand it in a very scientific way, or whether you understand it to a degree in both the scientific way and the lay way, to where you can now digest it and regurgitate it to everyone in a such a simple way that even the most simple-minded person can comprehend what it is you're trying to convey to them. If you can't do that, you need to keep that shit locked away. All right. And stick with 8 inches per mile squared, with that we can calculate that. And then the math don't work. And stick with, all right, there's supposed to be physical curvature. We don't have it. Right. You stick with those two things, and you can demonstrate it till the cows come home. You can demonstrate it, or you can demonstrate that what they're claiming it doesn't work. That you can demonstrate. You can absolutely demonstrate that, and then you win your argument. Basically, when we had the Zen versus Garcia trial, right, where you had I forgot his name, Garcia versus this guy, something Zen Thompson, I think it is Thompson Zen, I forget his name, but that guy versus Garcia put out, you need to prove to me that the earth is a globe, and you can't use shit like a computer stuff, this, that, third. He had conditions to in order to basically strengthen what it was that he said, right? Mr. Garcia had conditions saying, if you can fulfill this, then show me, and then we can show that this earth is a globe. But if you cannot, then the earth is not a globe. Anyway, Garcia, based off of the logic of it all, just the logic, right? Which of course we know is true, demonstrated that nobody could demonstrate that this earth is a globe. What's so important about that is he used their numbers, right? It is in stone. It is these numbers, they don't move, they don't bleed, they don't run, they're in stone. 24,900, whatever it is, we round it up to 25,000 miles, right? In circumference at the equator, right? When we round that, when we keep those numbers and we hold 1,000 or 1,034 miles an hour at the equator, right? Traveling from we use those are concrete numbers, right? When we use these numbers and then they don't show up ever, nobody could say anything. There's nobody that could say anything as far as what, and that's all you got to say. All you have to do is say the same flipping thing. No, you can't. You cannot. You cannot, because you have not. Nobody has. All you have to do is show me this curve. All right. 25,000 miles, 8 inches per mile squared. You cannot see any curvature from that distance. It doesn't happen. Never works. You'll never see a loss of that object at that distance. You won't. The only time you'll lose that object is to the atmosphere, or the convergence of the I guess I was going to say the ceiling, but your angular vision, you just lose stuff. You know what I'm saying? This could be demonstrated over and over again. Basically, what you could do, you could say, hey, if I took a hockey puck and I was in an ice ring, and say the mall, you were in the Roosevelt Field Mall in Long Island, New York. You take a hockey puck, everybody's out the way. You send the puck down the freaking mall, and it's an ice floor. You send that puck, you've got your head level to the ground. When you're on the ground, that puck, after it hits like 50 yards, you'll probably lose it. This is just 50 yards, man. It's not that far, right? With your eye to the ground, you will lose it. Does that mean that the mall is curving? No. It just means that based off of your angular vision at that height, you lose the puck. That's it. It's simple. These things are simple, right? These are simple. They are demonstrable, right? I know I'm kind of getting long in the tooth. This is something that I feel we need to condition ourselves into understanding, that we don't need to approach anything with all this sexy talk that many of us don't fully and truly understand, right? Like I said I didn't say all of us, but many of us, right? Not everybody's going to be an Austin Whitsitt. Not everybody's going to be able to debate somebody like Austin Whitsitt. Really, all you need is the truth on your side. That's it. All you need to do is present the truth. You don't have to make anything up. You just present what you got. That's good enough. All this other shit, all that other ice wall, like, that's going deep. That's going deep, and that's speculating. Like, well, they say this, they say that. And if you're going to use that, you need to include that. Well, this is what they say. And what I mean by they, the science, many of the scientists. And then make sure you can use your sources. You can demonstrate your sources, right? You have scientists that say that the moon is plasma, and you can demonstrate that source from 1963 or 1964. I forget which year, right? You have a scientist saying that the moon is plasma. You have scientists, Michelson and Morley, that had a failed experiment in 1887 showing that there is no rotation of this, there's no movement of this earth. They failed to prove that this earth was moving, right? And then, like 99 years later, the US Air Force went ahead and ran that same experiment, and they couldn't prove that the earth was moving. Now, the problem is with that, science doesn't want to come out and explain these phenomena, right? Or lack thereof, right? They don't want to come out and explain that, yeah, we can't fucking do it, or that we couldn't demonstrate it. You had a couple of guys come out and say, yeah, well, we can't prove Earth's rotation. But is anybody listening to that other than us that's actually looking for anybody looking for that? Our globe brothers and sisters out there. Some of us are, but many of us maybe not really, right? And you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. But if you come across it, make sure you understand what it is you're talking about. Because then if you don't, these people are so, I'm sorry to say, but many of them are so ignorant that any misstep that you take in trying to explain your true earth theory, any misstep, anything that you're wrong on, they're going to say, well, look at that. Obviously, you don't know what you're talking about. Because if you did, you wouldn't have said some nonsense that you can't fully explain. And so, therefore, the earth, and then it comes back to their default position. Therefore, their earth is a globe. But I digress. Let's get back to the video. Let's let Leo finish.
But whatever's at play there regards gravity doesn't help either, because that can be overcome by a gentle breeze. Therefore, isn't man enough to make the globe Earth theory a reality? So it all comes back to psychology. And where does this start? The education system. So why are we, or why aren't people challenging the education system? NASA test engineers, all of them come to my channel, and all of them have been dealt with by demonstrable reality. They cannot prove their globe Earth. So why aren't people challenging their local education system? I highlighted this a while back. Challenging them, say, prove this globe Earth theory. I only stand by science we can test and verify for ourselves. I want to see demonstrations proving this globe Earth theory, because every demonstration on this Earth which backs the claims regarding what the globe Earth theory says shows the globe to be impossible, because it cannot back those claims. It hasn't got the demonstrations of air pressure systems residing next to vacuums without solid separation. Hasn't got evidence that tower cranes could be dead still and plumb whilst doing ludicrous speeds like the globe Earth theory suggests. Yet alone tower cranes upside down in relation to, say, me or you on this spherical ball that people claim is a reality.
And what's crazy is that obviously, if you don't know what Leo does, he's a crane operator, or it sounds like he's in the construction of some sort where he's involved with crane operations on a daily basis. Now, when I was a diver, I was also involved in a lot of crane operations, right? I used crane, I was around cranes and the booms and the freaking chain falls and everything every single day for quite some time in my naval career, right? And so, but these were rolling cranes, right? These were on tracks. These cranes were on tracks. So every once in a while, you'd hear the bell go off bring, 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 when these guys were around. And if you were out of the water and you were on the surface, you had to have your hard hat on. Everybody on the waterfront in and around that area had to have their hard hat on. And just like he said, the motherfucker didn't move. These things were stationary, right? I never saw these things swaying unless a good strong ass breeze caught them. And where I lived down there in Georgia at the time, right? I was at Kings Bay, Georgia, right? Where I was down at Georgia at the time, every once in a while you may get a strong gust of wind, because we were prone to get hurricanes from time to time, every once in a while, right? Not all the time. But other than that, like, was what it was stationary. These cranes, right? These booms don't move. The only time they move is when they are moved. That's it. And you can, I mean, let's continue with the video.
It's ridiculous.
You guys aren't stupid. I know you're not.
Challenge the education system. It's not going to be to provide those practical references. And then you've got a lever point to hold people accountable, whether it be the head of the board or whatever. Challenge your local school. No one can prove this globe, which is why you got all these people making a song and dance about going to Antarctica, looking at a light in the sky, and then suddenly claiming they've got scientific demonstrations for their impossible world. Fucking insane. The education system has made these people this way. So the only way you're going to deal with this is nip it in the bud at the root. That is the education system. Stop this silliness. They can't prove it. Start holding people accountable for the tosh they're serving up to the children. And as a result, we wouldn't have to, in 20, 30 years, deal with grown adults who are clearly deluded. Otherwise, they wouldn't be going to Antarctica, looking up at a light in the sky, and then declaring demonstrable reality is wrong.
That's right. That's right. And we kind of discussed this last where Leo was saying basically not all true earthers believe the same thing, right? He was basically, and I totally agree with him. I totally agree with him. And even I'm guilty of that as well. I'm not going to say that, oh, of course I knew that. No, no, I know exactly where he's coming from. So I had to check myself and I had to take a step back and I had to be like, okay, all right. Have I been to the ice wall? No, I haven't. Right. Have I been up in the firmament? No, I haven't. Right. So I can't educatedly speak on these things that I haven't truly done. Right. But have I seen ships at distances I'm not supposed to see? Absolutely. At super minimal heights, right? 2 feet off the ground, I could see ships for miles and miles. But I can't prove it. But I've seen them, right? And I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was normal until I came into the true earth, right? Have I done the weird experiments you guys have seen where I've done the weird experiments with the moon and everything and getting heat, lack of heat for whatever reason, right? I've flown in the airplanes and I've asked these guys these hard questions where my job was to fly. And I've asked these guys the hard questions, right? And they've given me their testimony. And I already knew what the answer was. Some of them they were just like, yeah, it is what it is. That's what it is. We don't fly any other way. That's crazy. That's bull, right? And they could say that, but they're not going to come out and say, yeah, and the earth is flat too. Hell no. Why would anybody come out and say that when you're in a position of authority? You're a commander, you're a captain, you're a lieutenant commander. You'd never come out and say some nonsense like that. You'd never come out and say some shit like that. That's crazy, man. You're just asking for your career to be suicided, right? So for all these people that are saying, well, why don't you bring that person out? Like, fuck no, hell no, right? You had Taboo Conspiracy just a couple of weeks ago. He had his show, and shout out to Taboo Conspiracy 3. I don't know what channel he's on 2, 3, 8, 15, 41, right? Taboo Conspiracy got so many different channels. But if you haven't subscribed to Taboo Conspiracy, he's the gentleman that we showed and we demonstrated his video with Cujo, the F-16 pilot, and the Wizzo, right? The weapons officer that was demonstrating how the radar works, and I forgot which APG it was, but how the radar works on the F-15 and the F-16, right? How it works on their platform and how they know that they're flying level, right? Not even going to get into all the weeds. You got to check out Truer Tuesday, and you got to check out Taboo Conspiracy's video also in that demonstration as well, if you didn't see it. And so you have these guys coming out, but they're definitely not going to risk their life and livelihood just to get a point across, right? A lot of us ain't that which I think that's ballsy enough to be able to tell the truth, right? I think that's ballsy enough. And at the end of the day, it's at the end of the day, who's going to be there to tell the truth. That's all it is. That's all it is, right? Who's going to have the ego, or who's going to be able to shed their ego and just lay it all out there and be like, all right, this is what I see. Based off of what I actually see, I do not see a curve anywhere. And just be honest, right? It's not that people are blinded, their mind is so corrupted that they're blinded. It's just this is, and I'm telling you, people are the majority of people, not American people, just people in general, are lacking the spirit of truth. Here's what I mean by that, right? A lot of people could look in the mirror and they'll think they're the best thing since sliced bread. I'm one of those people, right? I think I'm the best thing since, but in the eye of everybody else, they're like, man, you don't look so hot. Or you could sniff yourself and be like, I smell great. Meanwhile, to everybody else, you smell like a bag of onions. You know what I'm saying? You stink. You funky as hell. Like, dude, wash yourself. You know what I'm saying? But according to everybody else, you stink, right? And even though, okay, that's opinion based, maybe some people like the onion and garlic on people. I don't know. But the majority, some folks might think you smell like a chitlin incense. You don't want to smell like a chitlin incense, so you want to wash your ass. But the thing is, first, you need to come to realizations with what the shortcoming, whether it's your shortcoming or the shortcoming, in order to fix it. But if you're going to continue to lie to yourself, these things are not possible. They're just not. Like, it's nothing that I'm making up, but that's what the truth is, right? If you're not good at a particular thing, maybe either you need to practice more or you need to be honest with yourself and say, I'm not going to dedicate that much practice to it. So I'm going to just walk away from this thing and I'm going to do something else. I'm just going to be honest with myself. That's it. There's nothing wrong with being honest with yourself. But if you have too much of an ego, you're going to spend a lot of time wasting time. And so that kind of goes back to that kind of goes back, right? That kind of goes to what Leo said as far as education. This is, to me, this is like the most important thing. Because how did we all get here? We all got here because we were all taught from a extremely, like, the first thing out the damn womb, first thing we were shown, first thing we were taught, Universal Studios. First thing put in your face is a globe. The first thing in your face is that kind of map, right? You see this every living moment of your life, right? Every moment of your life. This is what it is. That's what your reality is supposed to be, right? But what's in front of us shows something different. And then when you before you even have an opportunity to ask the questions as to why things don't match up, they're there to provide you with education. They are educating you based off of a fundamental lie. It's all a lie. When you continue to drink from a poison well, right? At first it affects you a certain way, but once you get used to drinking that poison, well, guess what? Your whole system is poison, and then it doesn't affect you at all. You're just used to it, right? But as soon as you start drinking some fresh water, your body's going to react adversely because it's so used to being poisoned. This globe, right, that we've been getting is the same exact thing. So our immediate surroundings of people, they believe the poison. They're used to the poison. So we shouldn't be shocked when we try to deliver to them fresh water and then we get an adverse reaction. We get a reaction, like a negative reaction based off of what it is they're currently injecting. The water of truth, of life, instead of the poison of lies, right? And the more, but the thing is the more you consistently deliver truth based off of what you know and what you can prove, the more they're going to have to take it. They're going to have to ingest it. And if they don't want to listen, somebody else is going to wind up telling them, right? And then they're going to wind up, if they do see the truth for what it is, great. If they don't see the truth for what it is, nothing you could do about that, man. Just wash your hands of them, right? They'll eventually see the truth. But it, like I said, it comes back to those being educated now. And the reason I'm saying this is because everybody knows that the moon landing is fake. Everybody knows. More people know that the moon landing is fake and bull than more people believe. I believe, in my opinion, then more people believe that we landed on the moon. Now, if you take it back maybe 40 years ago, I'm sure more people would have said, hey, we believe that the moon landing is a thing, right? But with all the evidence and the change in how the graphics are and everything else, and all the stuff that many of us in the true Earth community and just the truth movement have displayed and have shown to everybody, you have more people think we just didn't go to the moon. But you want to know something? NASA's going to keep it moving and they're going to act like we went to the moon anyway. NASA went ahead and moved the goalpost saying, yeah, we went to the moon, but the moon is still within our atmosphere. They went ahead and they said that. Like, no shit. They actually said that. NASA went ahead and they actually said that. All right. Cool. Cool. The moon is still within our atmosphere. Bet, fine. We know that's bull. Now it's turning out that NASA's full of shit, right? And they're probably a damn black ops freaking conglomerate, right? And they're just a pit where they receive a bunch of black budget money and they do all kinds of nefarious stuff with that money. We're not seeing the benefits of it as taxpayers. We're definitely not. But we're definitely spending it on an annual basis, right? On a daily basis, we've broken it down to like $81 million a year, something ridiculous like that. Probably more so with inflation. Either way, the kids that are being taught this bullshit, let me tell you something. There's a good possibility that within my lifetime, within our lifetime, especially depending on how this final experiment goes with what happens in Antarctica, the kids will come back and they're going to remember every single face that told them that this earth is a ball and told them with their chest that this earth is a ball, that this earth is a globe. They're also going to remember everybody that told them the converse. Remember that. These kids are going to remember when, you know what? I used to laugh at my dad when my dad said that this earth was plain. He said that ships don't go over the horizon, they just go and we lose them. He said that planes don't curve, they just fly straight and level until they're ready to land, in which they come down like this with the nose up. Still, my dad said that. And so you want to know something? They're not going to look at you as if you're a walking L. They're not going to look at you as if you're a failure. They're going to be like, you know what? I laughed at dad. I laughed at grandpa. I laughed at him, but he's been right the whole fucking time. And so when the kids take that time and then they look at you with such reverence later on down the road, it's going to make them check themselves and do a round turn on themselves. But on the flip side, if they have to look and be like, dad lied to me, bullshit me the whole time. Now look at where I am. Now look at where my life is. Now look at how I think. I can't even think for myself. Like, people think that that's a joke. You have those people, you have those bots that David Weiss calls them, right? You have them like NPCs. You have these people that, oh, it doesn't matter. No, it absolutely matters. The truth absolutely matters. You have a choice. If you know, if you know what this place actually is, or you're starting to come to the truth with what this place is based off of all these lies that you've been fed, now you have a choice into what it is you start to devour, right? Now you have a choice in as to what it is you start to accept as a truth. And then you're looking at it a little bit more critically. I don't know if I told you guys, but you have a group called um, Architects and Engineers for Flat Earth Truth. Now, I'm not saying that they're fully legit. I'm not going to say that, but I'm telling you that people are paying attention. People are absolutely paying attention. It's a joke anymore, right? What was once a joke, it's not a joke. It absolutely isn't. Flatworks, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much for that. It isn't a joke. And so, based off of, and I mean, hey, listen, you're going to get made fun of anyway, right? If you believe that the earth is flat, they'll make fun of you. Or if you believe this earth is true, level, and plane, they'll make fun of you. If you believe this earth is a globe, nobody's going to make fun of you. You want to know something? If you got a big nose and you believe this earth is a globe, you know people are going to make fun of you. Do you know that if you tall as fuck and you like 8 feet tall and you got a big chin and you believe the earth is a globe, you know people are going to make fun of you anyway? If you short, dark, and you got a big ass nose like I do you know people are going to make fun of me anyway? So does it really matter? It really doesn't flipping matter, right? Tell the truth. If you know that this earth is true, level, and plane based off of what it is you can prove and what they can't prove, you need to say it, right? You need to stop being a pussy. I think the vast majority of people in general, they're just afraid. They're afraid, they're lazy, and they love to follow the crowd, right? People are afraid, they're lazy, and they love to follow the crowd. How many times were you in math class, right? And then the teacher's like, all right, kids, I'm just going to give a stupid example. All right, 4 + 4 is 5. And then she continues with the lesson. And nobody says anything. And then you got the balls to raise your hand and be like, Miss Jones, 4 + 4 is actually 8. And Miss Jones is like, what? I said that. And then you can say, no, you said 4 + 4 was 5. And then you want to know, what's going to wind up happening? It's going to become a cascading effect at that point. People are going to wind up getting balls. But unless somebody breaks the ice first and speaks out first, a lot of people are scared to say anything. Or you might not say anything and nobody will say shit. And they'll continue to just let Miss Jones say what it is that she's saying. And hey, brother, Half Warrior, I salute you. You have a good night. Good night, Half. Good night, Half, and thanks for coming tonight. But you're going to have a lot of people that going to back you up and be like, no, you said that. You did say that. But somebody's got to be taking the first step. You've got a lot of true earthers that had to take a lot of arrows back in the day just to explain what the truth is. A lot of people taking arrows and a lot more people shooting the arrows, right? Now, the scales are starting to balance just ever so slightly. It's the tide is changing, right? But when you come with the truth, you have to be ready to defend it with the truth, not with speculation. If you're going to bring gold, bring gold. Don't bring me a certificate. Bring me an actual gold bar. Bring me something I can use, something I can use to spend, something I can use to build with, right? Don't bring me a promise. Don't bring me something that's speculative. Don't bring me, and if you are going to bring me a speculation, bring me a speculation and we could talk about that, right? We could rap about that. But if it's true, we use what's true. If it's not true, let's not even talk about it because we're going to muddy the waters at that point, and then you're going to totally lose credibility. And I think what Leo is saying, especially up to this point, is those that have credibility and those that run the potential to lose credibility, right? And then we see a lot, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it too. I'm not going front. We have a lot of these debates. We see these debates, we see these globers, and we see how stiff-necked and hard-headed they are with the true earth. Not everybody's going to gravitate to what this place is, and they could be totally well-intending in their globe, right? We see the earth as different. We see the earth as true, level, and plain, and we can demonstrate it. But these guys, we feel as if they're lying, totally lying. And because of that, we feel some kind of animosity towards them. Well, I suggest you back off a little bit. Just back off and let them run their mouth. Let them run their mouth because a lot of this stuff is being filmed. And here's my thing. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit that I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. You know what I'm saying? I've been wrong in my claims before, but I know that I'm not wrong based off of what it is I've seen, that I see too far. I do. It's not just me, but a lot of people that I've worked with. They've seen too far, but they're not going to come out, a lot of them, and not going to say anything. That's fine. But they've seen it, right? I've seen it, and we know what it is, man, and we keep it moving. And so I say all that basically to say that you need to use, right? If you don't know how to use the bazooka, don't fucking use the bazooka. If you all you know how to use is the slingshot and the rifle, that's all you need to use, right? Last thing you need is to blow yourself up with that damn RPG and craziness. Let's continue with this video.
No, if the sun does something in the sky at a certain point in time, great. That doesn't change reality. The education system has got us in this mess. The mainstream media backs up the delusional world which the mainstream believers believe in. Got to stop this. They can't prove it. Start using that as a lever point right at the root, the education system. And when they can't prove it, start holding these people accountable.
Yes.
Got to end this now for the sake of the future, for the sake of humanity, because you got to remember these people have a huge budget to push their tosh. They've got bewildered people online trying to defend it, but not one single person can provide scientific demonstrations to back it. And we can all prove that it's impossible. So why have we allowed this to go on for so long? Get to the root and rip it out.
Very, very good production by Leo. I love his stuff. Love Leo's stuff. Always like Leo's stuff. Never gonna not like Leo's stuff. You know what I'm saying? He brings it, and he does an amazing job in demonstrating what this realm is that we live on. And so hats off to Leo. Always hats off to Leo. Man, I'd love to have him on the show one day where we could sit back and talk. You know what I'm saying? And then he could just kind of rap with the rest of the team, and we could discuss this true and level earth. I think a lot of what says is also grounded in reality. And it's not even, I think it's grounded in reality. It just is, right? And one of Leo's strong points also is showing, hey, this is happening on the right. And so he demonstrates rather well that the ISS doesn't move, and he just catches them in all their BS lies. Let me show you guys something. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I'm going to put this in the description box. And shout out to this guy. His name is Conspiracy Realities. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put his name, his channel in the description box as well. I'm going to play this video from Conspiracy Realities. And if you haven't seen this, I highly recommend you listen to it now. It's not long at all, but I'm going to play. I know I look crazy as hell, but you need to listen to this. This is one of their science deities that they worship, and they suck this dude's dick all the time, right? Michio Kaku. What a name, pun intended, right? But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to demonstrate what this dude said. And I want you to listen. Check this out. Check this out right here.
First of all, we have the theory of gravity. Gravity keeps you on this floor. Gravity attracts everything around its vicinity to create gravity around the Earth. Or, as we say in our astronomy courses, when we teach our kids, gravity sucks. Gravity sucks evenly. It pulls everything to the center. But then Einstein gave us a different picture. Gravity doesn't suck at all. We tell our students, we lied to you.
Kaku in the past.
All right.
First of all, we have the theory of gravity.
Okay. I'm going to let him finish, and I'm going to let him go ahead and provide context to that. Okay. But you see right there, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you can't even get mad at him for explaining what is going on or what's not going on, right? You can't get mad at him because when they come out and they say it, they mean it. That's it. There's no splitting hairs about it, right? So this guy comes out and he says it like it is. Well, let me play it again for those of y'all in the back that ain't hearing.
Gravity keeps you on this floor. Gravity attracts everything around its vicinity to create gravity around the Earth. Or, as we say in our astronomy courses when we teach our kids, gravity sucks. Gravity sucks evenly. It pulls everything to the center. But then Einstein gave us a different picture. Gravity doesn't suck at all. We tell our students, we lied to you.
I'm not making this up. I'm not putting words in this man's mouth. I'm not calling him a demon or a heathen. I did call him a dick sucker, right? Or I'm saying that y'all suck this dude's dick. I didn't call him a dick sucker. I take that back. So I didn't make fun of him or talk bad about him in that regard. But he says it from his mouth. He says it. Okay, let's continue.
Gravity does not pull you to the floor. Space pushes you down.
More bullshit. Space pushes you down now. So he's replacing one lie with another lie. All right, now he's a dick sucker. Let's continue.
Why are you sitting in your chair today? Does gravity pull you to the floor? No, there is no such thing as gravitational pull. We lied to you. The space around you is warped, and space itself is pushing you down into your chair, and that's why you're sitting in your chair today.
Why are you sitting in your chair today? Does gravity pull you to the floor? No, there is no such thing as gravitational pull. We lied to you.
Yeah, you sure did, motherfucker. You sure did. You did. But here's the thing. We have a lot of good people out there that's ready to sacrifice their balls to give us what the truth is, right? To have us investigate for ourselves. And when you look for the truth, a lot of times you get a lot more than what you bargained for. There's nothing wrong with that, right? At least truth. At least you're getting the truth. So there it is. That guy, his name is Conspiracy_Realities. Satterfield, brother, what's going on, cuz? There, cuz, man, it's good to see you, fam. Yeah, man, Jimmy Satterfield, man, good evening. Good to see you. Yes, they're full of liars. They're a bunch of liars. Yeah, Michio Kaku, he is. But I mean, we knew it was bullshit. But even when you present evidence like this to them, they're going to turn around and they're going to huff, puff, blow the house down. That's what they're going to do every single time. So at this point, what they think or what they say is right. What really matters is this future, right? What are your kids going to get? What are your kids going to think? And your kids don't have to believe you. Your kids could totally think that you're a numbskull. They could think you're totally crazy. My daughters think I'm absolutely nuts. Daddy, no, it's not. What's crazy is they know what daddy has done for years. I haven't done normal jobs. I wish every once in a while I'm like, I wouldn't mind a normal job, but I guess you could say it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. I haven't been doing a normal job. When I was a civilian, I worked at Staples, Wendy's, the country club, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Those were my normal jobs. Other than that, I just never had a normal job. And I've been fortunate enough to have a job to where it would demonstrate to me this true level earth. You have a lot of people that are not in those types of positions to see this earth for what it truly is, right? For it to give you its glories, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's That's Michio Kaku just lying to everybody. And another thing that these guys love to do, and a lot of y'all probably ain't going to agree with me, but I'm not here to have you guys agree with me. I want you guys to think and listen to what it is I'm saying, right? You got this dude named Billy Carson, right? Billy Carson sitting there just talking about the earth being, you know, not flat, right? But check this out. I want you guys, I'm going to show you something from Feed Your Mind TV. I want you to take a good look at how they're going to use Billy Carson and his testimony and his brain to describe what he thinks is reality and what he thinks is not reality. So let me roll that little footage for you. Man, I'm probably breaking all sorts of rules doing this stuff, man. Just showing these dudes stuff, and it is what it is, dog. It is what it is. Let me show y'all right here. If you guys hadn't seen it,
this is Feed Your Mind.
That's from Feed Your Mind TV. If you hadn't subscribed to him, highly recommend his material. It's great. It's phenomenal. Feed Your Mind TV. Let's continue.
So Billy Carson is finally admitting that the moon footage was not real. So Billy Carson wants to defend NASA very bad. He's sticking up for them, and he wants to believe in them. And so now he's publicly coming out and admitting that the footage is not real. Because how can you stand by that footage? I mean, at this point, you look more and more like a fool when you're defending NASA and if they went to the moon. So this is 2024, and people have the ability to research more than ever before. So to stand by the moon landing at this point just starts to make you look foolish. So Billy Carson must have been feeling that effects, because now he's publicly saying that that footage is fake, along with the general public, I would suspect.
All right. Before we continue, Palkis, you have a good question, and I just wanted to hit up on Palkis's question right here. If I asked you for a single piece of a media to convince him or her of flat Earth, what would you pick for the person to watch? Now, one media that I would show is the pilots, what the pilots think, right? The pilots is one, and I'd probably give you a whole series, but first and foremost, the pilots coming out and saying that the earth is flat, true, level, and plane, right? That they fly flat. That's it. That right there. Because these guys have such a vantage point of being on this realm that we live on, that their testimony is key and their testimony is strong. And these are active pilots. You know what I'm saying? So I would say the 28 pilots come out and call the earth as flat is that's a vital piece of footage. So yeah, if you could demonstrate to anybody one media, that's the one, I would say. That is the one right there. Well, I wish, what's it, Jaron? Go down to Antarctica and observe, but because we already had enough that there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I feel you, Flatworks, but at the same time, I have a hard time trusting it too. We've been lied to so much. It's hard to trust anyone or anything unless we go down there ourselves. I like Jimmy Satterfield's proposition, right? Where he has 50 miles a balloon and then another 50 miles a balloon. I think that's it. And then another 50 miles, another balloon until we continue, right? I like that to show if the earth is curving or not, right? Hot air balloon, obviously. I like that. I don't know about this Antarctica game. I think it's a little bit dangerous. I also think there's a possibility. I just think it's rather strange. That's all. You have a lot of guys that are speaking against David Weiss, a lot of guys that speak against Jaron, and a lot of guys that speak against Whitsitt, which I think those guys are awesome, amazing. They have great content and they're clever. But I'm also going to listen to the people that don't agree with them. We have to. It's important. I don't think that we write them off. No. I think that we listen to them. We give them our ear and we pay attention, because is there a possibility we could be getting duped? Yes, there's a possibility, right? But let me continue with this video and then I'll go with what it is. I think let's continue.
The average researcher should have figured this out by now. So with Billy Carson now admitting that the moon footage is fake, he's now still making excuses for them, because he's saying that, well, they faked it for a reason. So
I'll be right back. Let's continue with the video. I'll be right back, y'all.
reason he's saying why they faked the moon landing was because he's saying that they filmed some ancient artifacts on the moon, and he's saying these ancient artifacts are alien in nature. So he's saying aliens are on the moon building artifacts, and that this is why they had to fake the moon landing. So ask yourself, what's more realistic here? That they faked the moon landing because they couldn't go, or did they fake the moon landing because of ancient alien artifacts? Let's use common sense here and logic. There's tons of reasons why they didn't go to the moon. I'll probably leave a link in the comment section and description box so you can get caught up. I mean, the Van Allen radiation belts, there's tons of other options of why they would fake the moon landing. I mean, when you put it all together, it starts to make a whole lot of sense. And so, yeah, Billy Carson still wants to stick up for NASA though and say, yeah, that's why they faked it, was because of ancient alien artifacts. Now, Billy Carson's take on aliens is a whole nother subject, so I go into great detail about his experience with aliens, and I discussed that on my Future Mind 2 channel. So I'll leave a link in the comment section and description box if you want to get caught up on that video. But yeah, in this video, we're talking about how Billy Carson is finally coming around to admitting that the footage from the moon landing was fake, and I can't believe there's still people out there defending that footage. I mean, there's so many holes in it. You would have to just look into it it wouldn't even take long to figure out what everyone else has already discovered about how that whole thing was a science fiction movie. So Billy Carson.
So another thing that I feel about Billy Carson that some may agree, many may disagree. I'm waiting for people to disagree, but that's okay. I feel as if Billy Carson, they're putting him out there because he's the cool brother. He's the cool black dude. There's so many people that have done this world wrong and that have lied to so many people. The powers that be, those in charge, figure, hey, you know what? They'll believe the black guy. Kind of like when Obeezy was in office. They were like, they'll believe Obama before they believe a George Bush Jr. or before they believe John McCain, because we had a white dude do our bidding. No, people felt awful that they fell for the Iraq war. So they need to push the same agenda, but they need to wrap the package up something different. Well, we wrap the package up in black skin. So that's why Obama was so effective in getting all the bullshit passed that he wanted passed. You know what I'm saying? They basically achieved the same thing with Bush through Obama because they just changed the skin tone, right? You can trust the black dude. Black dude ain't gonna lie to you. Black dude been through enough bullshit, right? And so it's easy when you could use Obama. And the same thing goes with Billy Carson. Billy Carson talks a lot of stuff that mumbo jumbo that, you know, the one more quarter. I see Billy Carson as an Obama version for the globe, right? He's going to talk about the Emerald Thoth tablets, the tablets of Thoth, you know, the freaking Egyptian god with the big bird head that does all this craziness. That's the scribe for the Egyptian gods, the pantheon of and all that stuff. He talks all this stuff as if it's true. You know, Planet Nine, Nibiru, all this stuff, mumbo jumbo, right? Mumbo jumbo. Billy Carson talks and people listen. He's the cool black dude with the nice shape up, you know, well trimmed mustache and stuff like that. People gonna listen to, and watch what he says about everything he's talking about. Check this out.
teachings in science and real science
Oh yeah,
tell me I understand mathematics, I understand spheres, I understand physics.
yeah. You understand the BS that you're fed. You understand the BS that you're fed. This dude, he's just like everybody else. He's no different. He's no different. And I'm sorry to cut him off right there, but we're going to continue. He's the same thing. Like I said, he's their bullshit wrapped up in black skin. That's all he is. That's all he is. He got a nice little shape up, know what I'm saying? He got a nice little goatee looking like Billy Ocean and shit. Who, when the going gets tough, the tough get rough. Remember that song back in the 80s? Wake up and suddenly you're in love. Billy Ocean, not Billy Carson. I'm gonna call his ass Billy Ocean. Damn lying ass. Anyway, but he's gonna go out and he's gonna push that BS agenda because they got his ass on the payroll. They got his ass on the payroll, man. Let's continue.
Accretion disks,
Look at that.
quantum physics, quantum mechanics, all these things,
Oh yeah.
they spell out how the universe looks mathematically.
Yeah.
And the universe itself is a sphere, and we're living in a fractal of that.
He's against the flat earth because he's saying he believes in science and he wants to believe in all of his theories about aliens and Pleiades star systems. And, you know, he wants to believe all of these far out Star Wars tales. So he's like a Star Trek Voyager, if you will. He's very much into all of this type of stuff. So it's hard for him to get away from that deception. He wants to believe in it all. So once he realizes that he's been lied to about the heliocentric solar system model, then maybe he'll start to come around, but he'll have to allow himself to actually look at more and more information. And I don't think he's willing to do that. So,
And that's another thing, man. Black people, listen, you know, I love my people. I really do. I love everybody, right? I love black people. I love my people. But just because Billy Carson say it don't mean it's true. Don't fall for that same BS that Obama did that. That's why I ain't vote for his ass, because I ain't trust him. You know, at first I was spitting that nonsense that he was saying. I was spitting that same nonsense that Obama was saying. I was spitting it for a little bit, but then once push came to shove and I had to vote for his ass, I was like, nope, don't trust him. I was like, he's just like everybody else. I was like, unless he can do something dynamically different, he's the same. He's, you know, when you put the 25 cents in the bubble gum dispenser, right, at the damn pizza shop, and then you get a red bubble gum and you chew it, it tastes good. If you put another 25 cents and then you get a green bubble gum, you chew it, it tastes good. Well, guess what? They both taste the same. Carson is the same freaking thing, packaged up in black skin. That's it. That's it. But a lot of white people are going to be afraid to say it because they don't want to be labeled as racist. You don't want to not believe, because black people have been through a lot of stuff. And if you don't believe the black dude, you think people are going to call you racist. I get it. I get it. Well, I'm black, and I'm going to tell you, Billy Carson is full of shit. End of story. Let's continue with the video. Feed Your Mind TV is black, by the way, and he's a good brother. He's a solid brother. I like him.
he even actually proves geocentrism and flat earth, if you will, accidentally by explaining how the three pyramids are actually aligned with those belt. So with Billy Carson admitting this, he doesn't realize that this doesn't make sense if we are in a random universe with a solar system, because how can the pyramids be aligned with Orion's belt after all of these thousands of years? That means there's been no discrepancies, and that's not likely for the heliocentric model to show such accuracy as admitting that the sky is a. So with the sky, with how all of the so-called planets and stars move around. They move around in perfect order, like a clock system above us. So that proves that it's a geocentric Earth and we're not moving and the sky is a clock. So once he starts to realize this stuff, maybe he'll come around, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Anyway.
So yes, before we continue with that, Palkis, you came up with a very good point. Hold on. Right here, excuse me. There's been a physicist that came out as a flat earther. He was a geophysicist to be exact. Yes. I think he was a Brazilian dude, right? And he was phenomenal. He came out, he was phenomenal, and he gave his testimony, right? As to why he is now a true earther. Now, we need to come to grips. Now, I love the title of this show as True Earth Tuesday, not because it's a T and a T, right? True Tuesday, and not Flat Earth Tuesday, right? Because that would sound silly. That's what Friday's there for. But rather True Earth, because it's truly what can be demonstrated. It is true to what this realm is, what we can truly prove, right? And we're not bullshitting. We're not pulling any punches with anybody. We're here to learn, and we're here to demonstrate the truth of what this place is, right? Saying flat comes with a lot of craziness. I get it, but I understand when you say you're a flat earther, when you say it's the flat earth, like to a degree, yeah, I agree with it. But then some things may be different. But a true earth is what, like Leo says, is demonstrable. Now, with the name comes my logo, right? If you look, I've got this dude. If anybody is familiar with my logo, tell me what it is in the comment section, right? Tell me what it is, and I will have something for you, and I will send it to you. I'll have a nice prize for you, and I think you'll actually like this prize that I have for you. It's not some bullshit like a piece of candy or some nonsense like that. I don't want people to get diabetes on me. But if you could come up and you can explain to me, tell me what my logo is, what the name of my logo is, and where it comes from, I got a piece of candy. So the first person to come up with that, tell me who it is and where it's from. I'll have something for you. Of course, I'm going to ask you for your information so I can send it to you. But yeah, I'll have something to you that I can send to you. Here, there's been a physicist. We explained that. Another quick question: friction between Dave Weiss and Eric Dubay. Eric Dubay does not trust Dave Weiss. He thinks he is working for them folks, the J3s out of Eastern, out of the Eastern Med area. He thinks he's working for the J3s and he doesn't trust them. I could see where Eric Dubay is coming from with that, because I have my own set of questions in that regard. Like, I like David Weiss, right? He's a nice dude. He's a stand-up dude, but I have my own set of questions, and here's why I have my set of questions. I'm not going to keep this to myself. I'm going to tell you, it's been troubling my spirit, right? So you've got this app, and I like his app. I like his app, but it's got all this great knickknacks. Not that I don't care if we're paying for it, because anything that's good, I'm willing to pay for. But everybody's data is there, right? And so what's one thing many true earthers believe? That certain chemicals are bad. And what's one of those chemicals? Well, we just experienced it over the last 4 or 5 years, right? And so that's one thing we have in common. And so an easy way to lace and group these people up is through a simple app like that. Not to say that a lot of us don't have the same app like YouTube and stuff like that, but my parents may have the YouTube app, or they may have the Facebook app, but they're not going to have the David Weiss app, right? Or my brothers aren't going to have the David Weiss app, but I am. A lot of my viewers are going to have that same Sun, Moon, Clock, Zodiac app, right? So an easy way to lasso this group of people, this demographic of people that believe the same thing, that's like a thorn in the side to the powers that be, I feel, right? Us. And the enemy will want to know who we are. And the easiest way to do that is through an app that we give all these fucking rights and agreements to. So I feel Eric Dubé, that right there is one of those reasons Eric Dubé does not trust him. And this is what I feel, right? I am torn. I am conflicted. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie, but this is what's going through my head. We've been lied to by so many people that we never expected to be lied to by, right? And so we feel we don't want to be disappointed again, but here's the reality. The people that you least expect to disappoint you will disappoint you, right? They will find a way to ruin their image of you, to ruin your image of them, excuse me. A lot of times they will. And I'm not, hey, I ain't got nothing bad to say about David Weiss. David Weiss is an awesome dude. I did an interview with him, right? I did an interview with him back in, I think it was September of last year. And he was amazing. He was amazing. He was on the Ghost of Judah Tribes show. It was supposed to be Flat Earth Friday on a Monday, but whatever. We did what we did, and it was an amazing show. But to some degree, I could see where Eric Dubé is coming from, and it makes sense. And I'm not going to chastise him for feeling that way. I could see why he feels that way, because I just explained to you my take on it all. So you guys have a reason as to why. If you feel some kind of way about it all, maybe you have a reason as to why what I said, what Eric Dubé said, makes some semblance of sense. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. Last place they'll catch me is through the app. My internet history says it all already. No, you're right. You're right, Paucus. You're right. And one more quarter, I wanted to give you a shout out. Good evening. You're a new dude, and I wanted to say hi. It's good to see you. Let's get back to the video. I'm over here just.
So also with the Georgia Guidestones that they demolished years ago, that also prove that the earth is flat. Here like 40 or 50 years. So for you to be able to look through that one hole and see the North Polaris star, all of those years proves that the earth is not moving, because that accuracy would be impossible on a heliocentric solar system model. So things like that prove that the earth is stationary and the sky is a perfect clock system. And so look, I believe there's one last thing I would like to share with you about this Billy Carson interview that he had, because he brought up dinosaurs and he had all of these ancient artifacts and pottery where it depicted mankind with dinosaurs. So I found that very interesting, and I would actually like to look deeper into that at another time, because I've done a lot of research on dinosaurs and I've concluded that there could actually be something to them. In the research I've done, dinosaurs could be related to the Nephilim, because the Nephilim came down and there's reports that they were creating these hybrid creatures. So basically with the dinosaurs, I believe it's possible that maybe the fallen ones had something to do with creating them by interfering with them and mating with them, and these reptiles might have became these monstrous looking creatures back then, also with the reports of possible dragons. So yeah, so with mankind being depicted with so-called dinosaurs, to me that's possible in my opinion, because it could be related to dinosaurs possibly being a Nephilim hybrid type creature that might have roamed the earth. I know a lot of people think dinosaurs didn't exist at all, but maybe there's something to them. I don't know.
And we spoke, I think it may have been on the Ghost of Judah Tribes show a few weeks back, but I'd say one of the more prominent dinosaurs. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys in here have played the God of War series, notably one of the last God of Wars was God of War 4, right? For the PlayStation 4, as well as God of War Ragnarok and stuff like that. If you hadn't played it and you're a gamer, I recommend it. Awesome series, right? And so we get familiarized mostly with the Norse gods. Now, seeing the Norse gods being depicted that way, what I thought was amazing. But the Bible speaks of God's angels. It speaks of Nephilim, and it speaks of the scripture speaks of dragons. And one of the most notable dragons that the scriptures speak of is Leviathan, right? Basically the owner of the depths of the deepest waters, Leviathan. What's one of the serpents in the Norse gods is Jorgamander. Jorgamander. He's the huge serpent that eats his own tail. I think. Yeah. I think Jorgamander, and some people might call him Ouroboros, the serpent that eats his own tail, right? And so there's so many different possible, not saying that it is, but possible correlations between what the Bible says, what we've been taught, and what we see, what's depicted right there on those pots, Stegosaurus, Triceratops, and all that stuff, right? The ancient These things are shown in so many different places that I'm not saying that they're not real, but it's hard to say that they never existed. It's so difficult to say that these things never existed. So kind of like to your credit, Palkus, when I think it was Palkus. Yeah, no, I think it might have been Flatworks. Let me scroll up. Right. So when you said Flatworks that you're a big Jaren and Will, the experiment does seem suspicious. They exist. Okay. But Palkus said, okay, you've heard questionable things about how Dave operates. It sounds fishy. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm correlating what I'm saying to a point that you made, one of you guys made. So, okay, so this right here, Palkis, you bring up a good point. Sometimes the way Dave talks makes your saying senses tingle, not gonna lie. But that may be because he repeats the same stuff so many times. And so, yes, so when David Weiss says something, he's got such an attraction to making people believe what he says. He just does. He even said that he used to be a salesman and he was a good one, right? So he could be saying a lot of bullshit and it's attractive and it's easy to swallow. You know what I'm saying? So that alone has me kind of like just like so I listen to what he says. I pay close attention, kind of like you, Palkus. I pay close attention to what he says. And one of the things that he says, right, is what and see, so you okay, so I'm not the only one that hears this. One of the things that he says, now listen, first of all, disclaimer. There is no division in this community, right? I do not want a division anywhere. That's not at all what I'm seeking. People are going to look to divide what we have going on, and that's not at all what my goal is. That is not how I'm trying to approach this, but I'm just speaking the truth based off of how I feel from the heart, from the soul, what I see, and potentially what other people might see. I'm just speaking that truth. I'm just saying the quiet part out loud. That's it. That's it. And it's the same truth, right? And if it's not flat earth, then it's like then, and if it's not true earth, then what is it? Right? Then what are you saying? So when we hear things like, oh, we have more land over here and we have more land over there, maybe they're hiding more land, wink wink. And it's like, dude, yeah, but I don't know about that. I don't know about this more land. What I do know is that the earth isn't curving. What I do know is that when a pilot flies, he flies straight and level, right? These are all demonstrable things. When you start introducing, the ice wall and more, oh, we saw a boat on, marinetraffic.com go 200 miles within the ice Well, I mean, people could speculate, and it's great evidence, great speculative evidence, claiming that there is more something elsewhere. We get that, but can we prove it right now? We can't prove it right now, right? We can't prove a lot of those claims that are being made. We can't prove more land. We can't prove Terra Infinitum. We can't prove it. You know what I'm saying? We can't prove it. So when you sit there and you talk about it and it becomes a talking point, and then you mix it in with the true and level earth, that becomes a problem. Then a lot of things start to come into question. And like I said, man, I love Dave Weiss. I love Dave Weiss. I think he's amazing. Jaron, I think he's amazing. Austin Whitsitt, I think they're amazing. But when these things start coming into question, and you're mixing actual truth, right? This level plane, not being curving and anything like that. When you're mixing actual demonstrable truths with possibilities, and you haven't lost anybody, you need to be cautious. You need to be cautious where you tread and who you bring with you, right? Because now many of us have already bought into, and it's not bought into, we already could see the earth for what it truly is. Adding this extra stuff, you're going to start bringing people into stuff that we don't know if that's truly the case. We don't know if there's more land out there, right? There very well could be. I'm not saying that there isn't, but we don't know if there isn't. We don't know if there is more land out there. When you say dinosaurs are fake, but yet the scriptures say one thing, right? Because the scriptures so claims that this place is immobile, which we haven't felt movement unless there's an earthquake. The scriptures always describes how the sun moves in a circuit, which we can see that and we can demonstrate that based off of the analema, right? We could see these things. The scriptures makes these claims. The scriptures talks about creatures that look like they no longer exist. So when you turn around and you say dinosaurs don't exist, and then you have people saying dinosaurs don't exist because David said dinosaurs don't exist. A lot of people haven't done their own research, right? When you say nukes don't exist, and then a lot of people follow up and say, hey, you're right, nukes don't exist. But then you have those of us that worked around nukes, right? And worked around nuclear waste and things to that effect. Well, one of my first jobs, I used to work in a department called RADCON, right? Radiological controls. So a lot of that stuff I had to watch myself around radio RAM, right? Radioactive material, right? And a lot of our radioactive material we'd have to take, and then we'd have to, long story, but I used to work around it. Luckily, I guess you could say luckily I did. It's just another job that I used to have when I was in the Navy, when I was real young. But it's one of those jobs that I had. And so I was around a lot of different things. Now, is that to say that I was working around a nuclear missile at that time? I wasn't at that time. But then later on in my career, I was working with radioactive material around those warheads, right? So I was near them many times, and I've seen those things being up and removed. Now, do I know that if those warheads are truly nuclear? I don't. I don't. I've never seen one explode. I've never seen one explode. We shoot ICBMs, right? Dummy ICBMs for tests and everything else like that. We shoot them, and so we know they're operable. But I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how one could say that this this scientific phenomena isn't possible, or it doesn't work. Now, when you have people like Albert Einstein making these claims of things that don't exist, and then turning around to say that nuclear weapons exist, I could see in that case where you're coming from. I could see it. But to turn around and say nuclear weapons don't exist, well, what about all those countless people that get radiation poisoning from things like, Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, the countless experiments that were run on sailors, possibly sailors. Now, I wasn't there to witness it myself, right? But we've had sailors sitting on the freaking deck of the ship and then blowing up bombs at the Bikini Island, and guys getting excessive radiation exposure. Now, I could tell you, when you're exposed to too much radiation, right? Even small trace amounts of radiation, a radioisotope, for example. I had to get my kidneys checked. I was like 13 years old, and they gave me a radioisotope. They injected me with this stuff. It highlighted, and this is real shit. This isn't no joke stuff. It colored my blood vessels, right? To where they can see my blood vessels on an imager, right? Because it colored it. It's a radioisotope that was coursing through my system, and I felt nauseous to my stomach. And just a small amount of radioisotope, the effects that radiation has on your body, that's what that was, right? And so I felt nauseous to my stomach. I was I was throwing up a little bit, not much, but just enough to say I was throwing up. The doc was like, "Well, this is what happens when you get this. You're getting some slight radiation poisoning right now. It's okay." But this was like in 1991, something like that, right? And so I was like, "Okay, I'm sure that there's a better way to do these things, right? Like MRIs and stuff. But this is what they had available at the time, and I'm sure it was a little bit cheaper. And that's what I had done to me. So I could tell you from experience that that thing, maybe it wasn't radioactive, but based off of what he said, I felt those same effects, right? I didn't get the stars and stuff like that, like those that might get some acute kind of radioactive poisoning would experience. I didn't get all that, but I did get the nausea, and I did get the runny mouth, and I did get that weird queasy feeling. You know what I'm saying? So when you make those claims that nukes don't exist and dinosaurs don't exist, like then you really, like, I'm not saying that it's not something worth investigating. I'm not saying that at all. But now now people start to really question, all right, what the hell is he talking about? And then now you're making claims that, you know, we live in a place where this is our place, and then there's more outside of there. Like that's tough. I'm not saying that it's not true, and I couldn't tell you if it's true or not. I really couldn't. There are great stories out there, right? The Iron Republic, this one and that one, many great stories. But you know how the government works. These guys could lie all day. These guys could plant evidence all day and make you think that what you're reading is the actual gospel truth, right? Um, the government is tricky. The government and these powers that be are very tricky people. Case in point, just recently, over the last 3-4 years, right, we've had these naval pilots come out talking about these aliens have been around the ships. They do that, they do this, they do that. Yeah, sure. Now we don't know if they're aliens a lot or not, but we know that I've seen some unidentified flying objects around a ship before. I've seen some weird stuff, right? That I couldn't unidentified because we couldn't explain it, right? And then if your chain of command is like, all right, you're not to talk about this, or they just didn't see it, maybe they didn't see it, and they're like, well, whatever, it was a meteorite, whatever, it was a comet, anything. But if some folks are told not to talk about it and this in the future, or else you're going to be held on charges of espionage or whatever it is, or disclosing secrets, whatever, and then you have to sign a waiver, then that's weird. Doesn't mean it's a UFO, right? But you have these pilots that come out and they're saying, yeah, and they're smiling in front of Congress. Yeah, we saw these UFOs and they did this. They made all these maneuvers and they look like Tic Tacs and this and that. And these guys are called whistleblowers. Yet, what happened to these whistleblowers that tried to blow the whistle for Boeing? They were killed. And these are airplanes that we know about, right? These are airplanes that we fly on. These are 747, 737, 777, all the Airbus, stuff like that, right? These are things that are within our reach. This isn't out of the realm of possibility. So these are people working for an entity that are about to, that people heard they were about to blow the whistle and they were killed. So you mean to tell me these pilots, these many pilots are going to come out So you're going to talk about these pilots that are going to blow the whistle, and you should see how sour the government gets on true whistleblowers, like real whistleblowers. But these guys, right? They're going to go on Joe Rogan, and they're going to go on freaking Entertainment Tonight or whoever, and they're going to be lauded and applauded by Congress. Oh, thank you for telling us the truth and telling us about these UFOs and stuff. And I'm like, but they're not killed, they're not hunted, they're not looked upon as being pariahs. It doesn't this is where I'm like, all right, the government is feeding these people a line and they're letting these people say what it is they say because there's a reason behind it. But the real ones are the ones getting killed. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out and you need to get yourself killed. That's not at all what I'm saying. But when you sit back and you just observe, like they're running the same play. It's just a different time frame. But you need to be wary of it and don't fall for that bullshit. That UFO thing is nonsense. It's not. I'm not saying that I can identify those things in the air. No, I'm sure there's technology that we have that I just can't fucking explain, right? I'm sure there's technology that we've had from ages ago that I still can't explain. I don't know, right? But the real ones, like I said, they're getting killed. Like those Boeing those Boeing workers where they were whacked within freaking trying to leak a secret here, leak a secret there. They were killed. You see what these people do when they feel you're a threat and you're truly going to say something that people are going to actually listen to. Because a 747, I might fly on one tomorrow, right? Says a lot of people. Oh, I don't want to get on that thing if the door is falling off. Now, that's a real freaking whistleblower right there. That's something to really be worried about. But then these other dudes are lauded. Like, it doesn't make sense. And so I could see, and it comes back, so I could kind of wrap that part up. And so I could see why somebody like Eric Dubay don't trust David Weiss. And if he don't trust David Weiss, he probably don't trust Jaron. I'm not saying he doesn't trust Jaron, but maybe because if Jaron rocks with David Weiss, and maybe he don't trust him, right? Sounds like a whole dirty freaking soap opera over here. And I'm not trying to stir up any trouble, any hatred for nobody. But if you take a step back and you look at things as they are, and you understand that we've already been lied to about a million other things, then you're gonna ask the hard questions. And it's a hard question to ask. But it's a question that should be asked nonetheless, right? Whose side is that dude on? Like, I like David Weiss. I like him. I'm not going to lie, man. But I'm going to call it like I see it. Like, if that's what I see, that's what I'm going to call, right? It's hard to trust. Like, I could see why some people don't trust it. Then we're going to bring it back home. This is why you tell the truth based off of what we can demonstrate, right? Like, I don't know about this ice wall and beyond. I don't know about all that. But what I do know is that this joker doesn't curve and it doesn't move. Because if it did, these conditions would be met. However, those conditions ain't being met. It ain't curving. It ain't moving. It is what it is. That's it. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. You don't have to do nothing else outside of that. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue with this video, man. I'm over here bumping my gums.
I'm leaning more towards there's probably something to them. It seems like a pretty divisive issue, though, because a lot of people are saying, well, they didn't exist at all because a lot of the bones have been determined to be basically plaster and not real. So, yeah, there's a lot of speculation when it comes to dinosaurs. But, yeah, with the depictions of dragons with legs in the Chinese and Asian depictions that show these dragon beasts, and also with the Book of Enoch describing how the Nephilim had made it with not just mankind, but also animals. So they could have had something to do with creating these possible dinosaurs. So, yeah, I found that to be pretty interesting that there was pottery and artifacts that depict these dinosaurs. So I don't know if any of you have ever looked into that area of research before, but I found it quite intriguing. So,
You know what's crazy is if you look at a lot of these Norse gods, right? Some like Pan have what? They have horns. Guys like Loki. Loki, I think, had Fafnir, if I'm not mistaken. It may have been Fafnir. A wolf. He had a wolf for a son. Then he had Hel as a daughter, or something along those lines. Somebody back me up on that. I don't want to be misspeaking, but a lot of these gods, right, in the ancient myths, they're hybrids themselves. Pan, the goat legs and the small little horns with the little pan flute singing and shit, out there having sex with all these women's and stuff like that. Pan. Zeus. Zeus was known to turn into an animal himself and have sex with women. Or you hear of these different hybrids, the centaurs, the minotaur, all these different hybrids. And they were basically an abomination in the sight of God. And then, according to ancient history, you have the cynocephaly. The cynocephaly being the dog-headed men, right? You have weird things out there like the blemmies. The blemmies are the men with the square body and then the head in the middle of their chest. Look like MODOK from Marvel lore, right? So the blemmies. So you had all these weird things that don't show up nowhere in this world, in this realm. And yet this is probably one of those abominations that God flooded. But I'm looking, anytime, what's crazy is anytime I'm looking at Jared Boosters. His name is Jared Boosters. I highly recommend it. I'm going to put it in the chat right here. Jared Boosters. He's one of those old Earth people, right? Or those old New Earth people where the mud flood. So you had a lot of flooding and you had a lot of mud flooding. What the hell are the powers that be hiding? What are they hiding, right? Now we know that we had people a lot bigger than us way back in the day. We know that they had technology that we just that doesn't make sense to us now, back in the day, right? A lot of the technology and a lot of these ancient places or these old places in pristine condition, you could find them. Check this out. You could find them in Kazakhstan, right? Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. I want you to take a look on a map. If you don't know already, or if you don't know where these places are, take a look at a map. Look at a map, look for Kazakhstan, look for Turkmenistan. And I want you to rewind back, find where Tartaria is. Find where Tartaria is, match it up to where Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan actually currently is. You will be shocked. Excuse me, that's my grandfather clock doing its thing. Y'all just forgive me, please. Right? You'll be shocked with what you'll find or what your imagine. Right? With what your imagination's going to come up with. Excuse me, guys. But yeah, that right there, like, says a lot. We don't know what the hell's underneath our feet. Now, when we read those things like the ancient myths, the ancient Greeks, and everything else like that, here's one thing that matches up. One thing that I know matches up. There were guys out there giving it to the giants. And what I mean by that, they were getting them. They were out there, they were getting them. Thor, Jack and the Beanstalk, Joshua, Moses, all these dudes were on a tirade killing these things. They were out there, we got to. And then when you go to the ancient or the old natives that lived here in the United States, right? You had the not the Shenandoah, the oh geez, I forgot. Their name eludes me, but they lived right there up in and around, I guess you could say, the Shenandoah Valley. I kind of lived near there. You have those guys, and then they lived also an ancient race of natives that also lived in by Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Oh geez, their name eludes me. But if you watch Jared Boosters, right there, I put his name in the chat. Check his page out. Awesome, awesome old world material. Not like a John Levy. He's got his own style. He's got his own flavor. Highly recommended. Him, Geomancy, right? And John Levy. Those guys rock the house when it comes to the old world. Great stuff. But it brings you to there, and it starts to make you wonder, was the mud flood, was the flood that we think occurred like thousands upon thousands of years ago, was that more recent than we think? Is the Bible happening a lot sooner than we think? Instead of, the last 5,000 years, maybe it happened within the last 1,000 years. Who knows? And the version of history that we're being fed is a lot like this true flat and level earth. It's a lot of bunk. It's a lot of lies, right? And now we're stuck here with a false wheel. And then now that we're being presented with what the past could have been, we're stuck remaking it. We're stuck not just remaking the past, basically, essentially remaking the wheel, right? Now we're trying to account for things like these Cabbage Patch babies, babies being dropped in on our lap and having to sit there and replenish the earth, or replenish where we live. Guys like John Levy will talk about, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Little Rascals, but the Little Rascals were a bunch of orphans. There were a bunch of orphans just basically on their own dime, their own time and their own schedule, doing their own thing. What? Back in like the 20s and the 30s, right? It was crazy. All these little kids just left to their own devices, just running around rampant, causing trouble, being rascals, being kids, right? Just living on their own, doing their own thing. World back then. So they were basically making a show of how the world was back then. All these kids just looking for somebody to love them, somebody to take care of them. And then if you watch a lot of these old videos, a lot of these old footage, you'll see that's another prominent thing that you'll notice is you'll see the number of children that there are left to their own devices, just walking around. From time to time, you'll see that. I don't know. Maybe they could have been in school. Maybe they could be going to church. Maybe they could be on a field trip and it could be school. I don't know. But that's something that you'll notice from time to time in a lot of these videos. And it totally throws me off. And I don't know. We live in a very interesting time, that's for sure. And there's a lot of relearning that we have to do, because now we're starting to come to the truth that we've been lied to about everything. And so basically we hit the reset button and we have to start on a totally blank slate, essentially. And we have to look at everything with a critical eye. We can't, it's hard to, I'm not going to say we can't, but it's hard to take with us what we've been taught and apply it to what we're starting to learn now, because the level of the lie goes that deep. It's kind of like it's kind of like you got rid of your old hard drive, right? You got rid of your old hard drive because you had a bunch of LimeWire music on it. Now you have a new hard drive and you're transferring some of your old LimeWire music that's probably corrupted onto your new hard drive. What sense does that make? What freaking sense does that make? That's how deep the lie goes. That's how crazy it is that now you can't trust anything these motherfuckers said. Nothing. Even the scriptures to some degree, right? Because with all these missing books, much of the scriptures could be taken well out of context, right? Like these guys lied to us that bad. This then, to basically bring it back home, this is why demonstrating and explaining what it is you see prove is so important. No matter how small it is or how insignificant it may seem, this is ours. This belongs to us. Do you understand? It doesn't curve. That's it. We stop right there. End of discussion. It doesn't curve. We know it doesn't move. End of discussion. The sky's moving, sure. The rest of this shit ain't. That's it. We can prove it. That's all. That's all you need to know, right? Everything else they can attach bullshit and lies to. But what we can demonstrate and what we know, we need to hold fast and we need to hold on to that, right? Because that's ours. That right there is ours. At least be happy in knowing that. I mean, that's the best we can do. That's what we got, right? Let's finish this damn thing up. I'm over here bumping my gums.
Anyways, I'll probably leave a link to my dinosaur video in the comment section description box, plus along with my other videos that I mentioned earlier. So check those out if you get a chance. I also leave a link to my other channels, my social media, my Feed Your Mind store, my free email newsletters, and much more. Also, please make sure, once again, that you follow me on all my social media accounts. So also make sure you like and subscribe. It's very important. And so if you would like to support this channel, I have a link for that as well. If you can donate as little as $1 to help this channel out, I appreciate it. So thanks for tuning in. Once again, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This has been Feed Your Mind, signing off.
All right. So that was Feed Your Mind TV. Mr. Jones, it's about time. Your ass showing up in here all late. It's all good, man. We here. We holding it down. You know what I'm saying? It's good to see you. And it's good to have you anyway, Mr. Jones. We discussed quite a bit today. Audience was quite engaged and it was amazing. But we're pressing on. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. You're here. Y'all are here. And we just going to keep pressing, right? And we're just going to keep discussing. So yeah, Aranon, we did the kids, so the Little Rascals and stuff like that. Aranon does talk about those, and he does talk about, I guess to some degree, the Cabbage Patch thing as well. I don't know how old you guys are, but when I was a kid, Cabbage Patch Kids was like a big thing in the 80s, right? There were these little kids that came out, these little, and they were some little ugly motherfuckers too, if you ask me. I ain't like them shits at all. I thought them things was corny. But in the 80s, they were like a hot toy that a lot of people were buying. And now that I'm thinking about it, man, that's crazy. The Cabbage Patch toy was such a hot commodity. It was so big in like 1983, 1984, some shit like that. Everybody wanted one. I didn't want them shits. I thought they were ugly. Cabbage Patch Kids, man. Little Cabbage Patch dolls, man. They're some ugly toys. Them things was ugly, bro. I like Transformers personally, but Cabbage Patch Kids, man, they were the hottest thing in 19. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, guys. Give me 1 second. I just need to look something up real quick. What year was Cabbage Patch Kids big? I think it was 1983. Okay. Okay, 1978. Cabbage Patch Kids since 78. Cool. Okay, I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I was thinking about the time frame of when they got big, and I was like 1984, and like seriously, I was going to lose my shit. I was like, holy shit. 1984 Cabbage Patch Kids got huge. But it was 1982, 1983. Yep. First prototypes was Cabbage Patch Kids, Coleco Industries. Yep. Mr. Jones, all right, I'm going to come through here. We're going to come through here. Yeah, talked about the Cabbage Patch King. Yeah, Uranon, yes. Uranon, and John Levy also talks about the Cabbage Patch Kids as well. But Uranon goes into like some serious detail as with the Cabbage Patch Kids. That I remember. Nukes don't exist, but believing in them is just as powerful as if they were. I guess. Like I don't understand how they don't, but I'm gonna have to do some research into that. Like that's all I'm saying about the nukes, Mr. Jones. Real talk. No terrorists. Nobody has ever used one except for, I guess, if you want to label us terrorists, except for us. Hiroshima, apparently, right? Bonanza episode Devil on her shoulders in the night proves flat earth was taught more recently than they tell us. Yeah, I remember that one. That was with the lady teaching the kids that the earth was a ball. Meanwhile, the pastor was sitting there listening to them. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I thought those things were ugly. That's right, Ida. I think those things were ugly. 1982, the first prototype of the Cabbage Patch Kids was created by Coleco Industries, were approved for production by Javier Roberts, 1983. Yes. And if they were huge, okay. Cabbage Patch Kids price 1984. What was it? Okay. Your Patch Kids doll in 1984 was $100. Okay, hold on. No. The original doll sold for RRP $30. Okay, now they come in with certificates and now they're expensive, stuff like that. 1983, $50 to $75. Retail price of $21, but people were selling dolls for $50 to $75. Cabbage Patch Kids Riots 40-year anniversary. Oh my God. And really, your doll has a value of $45 to $65. Okay. 1985. What was the most popular doll in 1984? In 1984, the most popular dolls given as Christmas gifts were the Cabbage Patch Kids, first introduced in 1978 by Javier Roberts, just like you said. Yeah, just like you said, Mr. Jones. Yep, just like you said. Right. I just think, I, yeah, I just think it was crazy that 1984, and all the connotations and the craziness that comes with 1984, that Cabbage Patch dolls, and now what we're starting to learn as the Cabbage Patch back in the early 1900s, even I guess you could say even in the 1800s to some degree, right? The Cabbage Patches, people picking kids up out of the Cabbage Patches and just taking them home, right? Folks, grown folks, just taking these kids because they were just that abundant out of the Cabbage Patches. And these Cabbage Patch dolls, and Ida Hill got hers in 1983. Okay, got 1983. Maybe now maybe it was 84. Oh man, Jesus Christ! All right. So we firebombed Hiroshima and said that we had a nuke, yet normal life still resumed days later. Wow. All the nuke videos are models set. Yes, I could see that because everything gets destroyed in the nuke video except for the camera. I think that's crazy. We whatever that camera's made of, we should make everything the fuck out of. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking. Because I hear your argument, but I just I've been around ballistic missiles and everything else like that, and I see the security measures around them. And I'm not saying that they blow up and they don't cause massive damage. I'm not saying that at all. But we were taught and we were told that those were nukes, right? We would do, yeah, that's what we were taught. Just saying, that's what we were taught. That's what we saw. That's what I was around, right? I worked on ballistic missile submarines. I dove on them things for much of my life. Much of my career, I dove on those things. Ballistic missile submarines. So working around the nuclear compartment, working outside the nuclear reactor, right? Knowing when the reactor was hot and not being able to be within certain distance of it. And this is what we were taught. And then when you had to do jobs like that and this is here on Earth, me enlisted, no degree. This is what I would dive in the water on, right? Around a submarine with a hot nuclear reactor. And we were told the reactor's hot, have to have your TLD, thermoluminescent dosimeter, right? Basically a gauge to some degree that basically and I think it's measured in millirem, right? Röntgen equivalent man. That's what REM stands for. I don't know how I remember this shit. This was years ago that I did this, right? At least I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not lying. There you go. So I used to work on this stuff. No, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones. You're right. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying, hey, that's what we were taught. And that's what we were taught. But I'm not saying just because that's what we were taught, then that's what it is. Nah, I'm not saying all that. I'm like, well, this is what was taught. I don't know. You guys see that these nukes weren't real. Maybe they weren't real, but I have to do my research in on it. I don't know. In the Oppenheimer movie, that Matt Damon's character asked Oppenheimer the percentage of the chance of it working. Okay. All right. We'll look into it. I just think a lot of this stuff is strange. And us starting to discover and rediscover, now that we've to a point where we know that we're being lied to. Last week or a few weeks ago, I spoke about things like the Voynich manuscripts they said it makes absolutely no sense. Nobody could decipher it. Maybe that's because it comes from a civilization that was destroyed, deliberately destroyed. The Voynich manuscripts, things like the Codex Gigas, right? The Codex Gigas, the Devil's Bible. It will now make sense as to why or how this thing came into existence, right? Maybe that Bible belonged to an actual big person, an actual giant, right? There's a possibility that now these are what the truths may be. Not saying that this is what the truth is. I'm not saying that at all. But the lies are so abundant that we're like, all right, we know we were lied to. Now we have to redo it all. So now we have to reinvestigate those things, is what I'm saying, right? Codex Gigas, the Voynich manuscripts, and many, 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 many more things out there. Many more things out there. When Napoleon apparently went inside the pyramids and what he discovered, man, there's so much stuff that we were lied to about, that like even the words that we speak, do they have an effect on us? Do they have a physical effect on us? Because that's something that we're learning now, right? Spelling, when you cast spells, when you say something with intent, this is something that we're learning now. A good spell versus a bad spell, right? These are things that we're gaining knowledge. These are like the last days, and as the last days are approaching, we're gaining knowledge quickly. So it is what it is, right? Even the words that we utter, how powerful they are, right? And you know that old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, we're going to have to change that, because the words can possibly hurt me. We're going to have to change that, because the words can never hurt me. We're now starting to see that the words, they can probably fuck you up a great deal, right? There's power in these words. There's power in a lot of this stuff that we're starting to learn about. And who am I to say that's mumbo jumbo? Who am I, right? I'm learning just like you are. We're on a path to discovery with this whole thing. We've been lied to. That much we do know. That much is a fact. We've been lied to, or we've been led astray deliberately, right? What's crazy, what I think is crazy, is that these people that we consider our superiors, I guess you could say, they know a lot of this stuff. They're privy to a lot of it. And what I think is crazy is that they're probably looking at us and laughing at us and saying we're stupid because we don't recognize it. We don't see it. Let's go to the chat. We're firebomb, nuke, life resumed a day later. Yeah, I remember. I know. Mr. Jones, you giving it to me. You giving it to me, bro. It says it's 0 based on Ethereum. It's going to freeze up. It's going to seize up. All the information we get from the same people that lie about everything. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. I have no smoke. I have no smoke for you on that. None. I totally agree. They're going to lie to you about that. They're going to lie to you about everything else. News reports could very well be Hollywood production. They sell us their lies through the tell lie vision. Totally. TV programming, remote control, government control mind. Yes. English has been adopted as a common language. Yeah. I agree. English, engineered language, engineered lish, I guess you could say. English. It's strange. Yeah. It's strange how all this stuff it kind of ties in. Let's see. William Casey, ex-head of Bill Casey, said our information campaign will be complete when everything the public believes is false. Yeah. Wow. And you know what? People know this. So there are people that you could tell this to, and they're still going to turn around. They're going to watch their baseball. They're going to watch their football, and they're going to let those distractions continue to distract them because they don't feel that they feel totally powerless. Yeah, the Bible is, yeah. Not even the Bible, they somewhat bastardize. Even the Bible, because now you have this new Bible that they're changing the wording. They're removing books. The Chinese are now taking the Bible and they're twisting it. and they're making it fit their own agenda, the Chinese, right? The Chinese, when I say the Chinese, I'm talking about the Chinese government. I'm not talking about the people at large. It's messed up, but that's the reality. That's the reality of it all. Yeah, they bastardize it because it is the truth. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. It's I wouldn't say scary, but it's a harsh reality. Yeah. Yep. You could see it. They take like things that we recognize, like the face of the earth or the circle of the earth, and they turn it into the globe of the earth. I made a video on that and I demonstrated that they're changing these things, right? Because we're starting to catch up with their bullshit and their lies, and they're moving the goalposts once again. One of the ways is not only in the scriptures in the Bible. Um, Let me show you guys something. I got a little treat for y'all. I almost forgot. Hold on. So I purchased that book, Project Mars by Werner von Braun, written back in I think 48. Braun written 48 or 53, something like that. And I was picking through it, and sure as shit, like these are one of those things that we're told all the time, right? That Elon Musk, this and that, and we take it as gospel. Well, I purchased the book myself. Yep. The Vatican has several books they won't share with the public exactly. And then Flat Earth leads people to the creator. That's why they hate it. Totally agree. Flat Earth, True Earth. Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. But I purchased this book, right? And it's quite a book. It's a little bit weird. It's weird. But I'm going to skip to everything, through everything. And I'm going to take you to where I found this. Now I'm going to read this chapter to you. Werner von Braun's Project Mars, A Technical Tale. Chapter 24, How Mars is Governed. Long and exhausting were the official receptions of the three Earthlings by the Martian authorities. Holt and his two companions finally found enough leisure to make themselves a consecutive picture of the vast variety of novel impressions which the week of greetings had poured upon them. At no time did they sense any suspicion that their arrival out of the depths of space might be motivated by any. All right, you guys still there? Awesome. All right. So where was I? All right. Okay. All right. So at no time, suspicion, greetings upon them. They had thought that perhaps a Martian consciousness of absolute technical superiority over Earthlings had been the foundation of the dignified courtesy and consideration shown to them by the personalities in authority. After all, an interplanetary visitation could be no ordinary event, even in their lives. But slowly, Holt and his companions began to realize that they were acting from primarily quite different motives. The pictures of life on Earth with which they had been regaled were to them but final confirmation of the universe deep religion that God had created man in his own image, wherever man was to be found. The efforts of earthlings to subjugate nature on their richly endowed planet seemed to the Martians technically extremely primitive. But again, they drew the conclusion that these pitiful efforts were but an additional proof that God had inspired the doers, and that this inspiration was, you guys got me? That this inspiration was inseparably linked with an inner urge to action, which had been the driving power of Martian civilization. Now it continues. The Martian government was directed by 10 men. Check this out. The leader of whom was elected by universal suffrage for 5 years and entitled So, okay, so I'm going to read that part again. I don't know if you lost it, but what? I'm going to read it again. The Martian government was directed by 10 men, the leader of whom was elected by universal suffrage for 5 years and entitled Elon. Quote, Elon. 2 houses of parliament enacted the laws to be administered by the Elon and his cabinet. So basically, the Elon is the ruler. He's like the king of this place. Okay. The upper house was called the Council of Elders and was limited to a membership of 60 persons, each being appointed for life by the Elon as vacancies occurred by death. So basically, it runs like the Vatican. So you have a lifetime place in this cabinet until you die. So I don't know if you lost me, but in principle, the method was unlike that with which the College of Cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church was appointed. Usually, the Elon chose historians, churchmen, former cabinet members, or successful economic leaders who could offer lifetime of valuable experience. I'm going to leave it at that. So, when it comes to this book, right, Project Mars, it is in there. I dare you guys to go there. I dare you guys to go ahead, purchase the book. Ran me a pretty penny. I'm not going to talk about. But I had to dig and dig, read and read, and look, uh, and see what the hell it was they're talking about. Now, you see, when these guys make a claim, right? Like we've heard it time and time again from all these, these true slash flat earthers that Werner von Braun was a Nazi. We know that. Operation Paperclip. We know that, right? He wrote a book. A lot of us don't know that. And then they make these claims. A lot of us don't know that. But you go in there, you will find it. It is in there. It is in there. Written by the Nazi himself. Elon name is in there. His title is in here. It's not fiction. This is stuff we can prove, right? And this is what I'm talking about. And now this is why the book was so flippin' expensive, right? But if you look for this book with a different cover, that's what's going to be the cheap one. But the one with this kind of cover is expensive. But it's done this way by design, is my thing. And this is something we need to be wary of. We need to keep our eyes open about, because these guys are going to do things like this on purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's the education that we're not even thinking about, the stuff we're not even considering, that we really need. Like, read everything. My thing, at the end of the day, my thing is read everything. But mostly that stuff, that which is super expensive. Like, there's a so flipping expensive. A lot of these books expensive, even no matter how mundane it is, it's so pricey, right? There's good stuff in there. Von Braun put Psalms 19:1 on his tombstone. Heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. That's right. Day after day uttereth speech, and night after night showeth knowledge. Sure does. And you will find it. That's right. And that's right. Man is only found here. This is it. This is the only show in town, y'all. I'm afraid. This is it. This is it. So we need to make do with what it is we got. Right? That's right. And so my thing is, don't be afraid to read the Bible, because that's something that I'm going to show you that here too. I don't want to skip out on that. I think that's something that needs to be shown as well. I'm going to get into that. Where is it? Right? Where is it? Where is it? That's not it. Nope. All right. Okay. No. Here we go. So Austin Whitsitt had a debate the other day with a gentleman that was a Christian, but then at the same time he was a what's those guys, the Carpenter Square and the protractor, a Mason. He was a Freemason, which I'm going to show this to you guys. And yeah, it's unreal, the treatment that Austin Whitsitt got from his guy. Now, I know I shift gears a little bit. We were getting a little bit deep and heavy, but I don't want us to lose focus. And I think a little bit we kind of did. Yeah, he's a Freemason. Yeah, you know. Yep. False prophet. Totally. Von Braun. Yep. Houghton Mars Project, right? HMP. It's part of the research facility located on the world's largest uninhabited island, Devon's Island Active Mission. Wow, I did not know that, but I'm going to look into that. Freemason, false prophet, totally. So I'm going to show this right here. Yeah, because it's wild. Yeah, this dude, I don't, yeah, he rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not even gonna lie. Let's see. So here's the heated debate, and it's on Feed Your Mind TV again. Again, y'all, if you guys haven't subbed to Feed Your Mind TV, shame on you for not subbing to him. This is awesome content he has. Awesome perspectives as well. But I'm going to show what he thought about the, I guess you could say, the debate between Harry Potter over here. All right, okay. I said I wasn't going to make fun of him. I'm not going to make fun of him. That's not nice. And Austin Whitsitt. So let's play it. Let me stop running my gums. Check it out.
Does not describe a flat earth cosmology. I knew we were going to go there. The Bible,
God, geocentrism,
it hides God. I knew it. I knew we were going to go there.
Afterwards,
So Austin, just so you guys know, so you guys could brace yourselves. Austin says that, to a degree that they speak of the true earth within the Bible. So this you get to watch. Check it out.
It hides God. Geocentrism.
It hides God. I knew it. I knew we were going to go there.
Very heavy into science.
Let's figure out why afterwards. It hides God. Geocentrism.
It hides God. I knew it. I knew we were going to go there.
And you can see that dude right here look like he was trying to calm him down, like, yo, chill, man, chill. Check it out. Let's see it one more time.
Afterwards, it hides God. Geocentrism.
It hides God. I knew it. I knew we were going to go there.
And then he had to look at him. He's like, yo, chill, man. Yo, it ain't even that serious. You know what I'm saying? And then that dude over there, he's over there losing his mind and shit, being totally unprofessional. And then, man, you get to see for yourself. Check it out. Watch.
The Bible does not describe a flat earth cosmology.
It does. It actually does. In your heart, you'd know that. Let's continue.
It does not. We went through it. We went through the details. It doesn't. It's not hiding God. Because I know, Austin, you and I both know. You and I both know who you think is hiding it. We both know that.
What?
So I'm sick of the
It's
game.
crazy that if someone
I'm
votes for you,
sick of the game. All right.
What?
That's what's got me
you
tired.
don't know
That's
me,
why I'm
bro.
exasperated. That's why I'm frustrated right now. Like,
You think the Bible teaches a heliocentric model?
I think the Bible doesn't say what shape the earth is.
So most of the debate was revolving around science when they discussed gravity and stuff like that. But then the debate started getting kind of interesting after a while because he kept on asking Whitsitt, when did the globe Earth start? Because this host was insisting that the globe Earth has been known for thousands of years. Whitsitt didn't really challenge him on that, and I thought he should have challenged him more on that because, from my understanding, the world wasn't believing in the globe for thousands of years. But I guess what the host was saying is like when Pythagoras were around, they were proving the globe for thousands of years. And so he puts a lot of credibility on the Greeks and the ones who were discovering that stuff. And he kept asking, like, basically, if the globe is a lie, when did it start? So if all these people in the world knew the earth was flat, when did the globe Earth lie start? He was insisting on Whitsitt answering. And plus, he wanted to know why. What would be the purpose of the world? Now,
All right. I had to pause it because we kind of froze up a little bit.
won the debate because the host completely lost it on Whitsitt towards the end. He kicked him off the show. He said, "Get out of my house." He was saying my show, and he wasn't in his house, but that's what he was calling his platform, I guess. So he was basically saying, "Leave now," and he was completely infuriated with Whitsitt. And I have to admit, though, it looked like Whitsitt did not want to answer the question at first because he kept saying stuff like, well, you know, that's appealing to consensus. Basically, it doesn't matter when the globe Earth started. It doesn't matter why they would lie to us. He's saying basically, if you find out somebody's lying to you or you see a situation, you're not going to ask, why did this happen? And I understand that angle, but this is the same issue I had with DITRH for a long time because he seemed to not want to answer that question at first either. And I don't know why these people get on these debates, these flat earthers, I should say, and don't want to answer those questions. It's like, this is what the host wants to know, and this is what the audience, I believe, wants to know because they can get past that you are a flat earther. So get into the discussion with them. If they want to make the whole show about when did the globe Earth lie begin and who started the lie and why, if that's what they want to talk about, I say get into the full discussion because it's a very interesting discussion. Now, Whitsitt finally said, well, maybe they're hiding extra land or maybe they're hiding God, you know, basically. So that's when the host was like, aha, gotcha. Because this is all about God. This is all about, you know, Christians. And it's like, I thought this guy was a Christian, but now all of a sudden he was acting like, yeah, I got you now. Because
Yeah.
I knew this was all about God. So, you know, then he got into a pretty heated discussion with Whitsitt about that. But look, the host shifted to the Bible immediately. And I would have actually steered it more to intelligent design versus, okay, this is not just 100% about the Bible. It also proves intelligent design. They're hiding intelligent design. If you don't want to say that, okay, well, it's all about the Bible right now, it's not like I told you this was a religious fanatic idea and it's all about the Bible, and which it started you know, getting into it with him about that. Then the host was like, the Bible is not a flat earth book. Then Whitsitt threw about, you know, some quick replies to him. He had some scriptures that backed it up.
And you want to know something? That's exactly it. He just objected everything. And what's crazy is it's like that, you know, no, that's actually true. Like, no, the Bible says like on a million different occasions that this place is immovable. There is a firmament. There is a rakia, beaten out shield above us. Like it says it so many times. It's immovable. The face of the earth, the tree that grew, you know, in the midst of the earth. You know, like man, we could go on and on. Joshua telling the sun to stop. You know, like I said, we could go on and on as far as what this place is, how crazy it is, right? God has made a crazy place. This earth is crazy, not in a bad way, but it's just so it's full of so many secrets, so many Easter eggs. Murderers don't need a reason to murder. Liars don't need a reason to lie. That's right. That's right. God is the truth. That's true. That's true. You know, if people take the time to look at the evidence with critical thinking, mind the flat earth is the only one that makes sense. That's true. That's true. The flood of Noah wouldn't be possible on a ball. No, it wouldn't. Now, here's the thing, and it comes back to what I said. We tell them what we know. It doesn't curve and it don't move. Prove it. Prove that it does otherwise. You can't. So everything, and then you know what? They're gonna come back. And here's another thing. When they come back to things like, oh, when a boat goes down the horizon, I love when this internet be choking out on me. But when the globe folks always use the whole when the boat goes out past the horizon and then it drops because of the horizon, it's like, no, it doesn't drop at all. And then you use that as evidence, like there goes the most basic of basics when they try to prove an earth is that right there. That's the first thing a lot of these motherfuckers use, right? And excuse me that I call them motherfuckers, daddy fuckers, whatever you want to call them, right? That's the first thing these jokers use. And then you prove to them, you're like, no, we recall the boat, we bring the boat back. And then they say, well, you know, they move the goalposts. And then you need to demonstrate that to them. They're like, no, let's talk on that. No. So if they're going to lie on that, and then there's no actual curvature, this is where my bus stops. This is where I get off. End of discussion. That's it. End of discussion. You have no curve. You have no globe. End of discussion. Unless you can prove to me otherwise, which you cannot. End of discussion. And that's it. And I honestly feel if we stay in our lane, and describe this earth as just that, They have nowhere, and we've checkmated them. Once we've checkmated them there, that's it. They lose the match. They lose the match. Checkmate, we win. We win. That's it. Because then we start, we start going into, orbital mechanics and this and that shit that don't count for nothing. Stuff that I can't even talk on. Like, I really can't talk on that. I can't. Not going to act like I can. I can't. Do when we get a pet, we create this habitat to protect it from the outside dangers. God did the same thing. Created terrarium. Sure did. Are the ones deceiving. They get mad when they realize they have no proof of their claim. Yeah, they get mad. They get upset. It is what it is. We can't help that. That we can't help. But we could bring the truth to them. Yeah, absolutely. Water is a leveling tool. The ocean is the biggest leveling tool. A lake or a river, a lake is a leveling tool, especially a still, crystal, even, quiet lake. Lake Tahoe, best leveling tool.
That the earth was immovable, and he had about scriptures about how the sun stood still. Really, Witsit did not want to get into that discussion, and I'm like, well, get into the discussion with them, even if that's not your expertise. If you want to stick more to the science stuff and to the stuff it's like, get into because this is a very interesting discussion, and if it leads to scripture, go with the flow. Basically, let the discussion go. Witsit did not want to get into this discussion about the Bible or, why would they lie?
And you want to know something? Sorry to cut off Feed Your Mind, but it's easy. Like I mentioned in the beginning of our production tonight, we can armchair quarterback it all day. We can analyze it, slice it, break it down out in the heat of battle. But when we're in the heat of battle, it could go everywhere. Yes, it can go everywhere. But then you're not focused, right? We're not focused at that point. So we bring it to what we know we have in our corner. It's not going to change. It's not going to just develop a curve overnight. It's not. It just ain't. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to freaking start moving and turning overnight. It's just, it ain't going to do it. It ain't happening. Not on our watch. No, it's not. So that's where we are. The boats ain't going on over no curve. And we can show it. It ain't happening. And that's where we get off. This is my stop. I get off. We're done. Debate's over. You can't prove curvature. Then if you want to be fancy and you want to pull out 8 inches per mile squared, and then you want to get one of them videos, FE Core is a great one. FE Core is an awesome video tool that demonstrates, and even a whole bunch of videos that that Taboo Conspiracy has made himself, where he's been on frozen lakes in Utah and he's demonstrated no curvature for miles, like 12 miles. There's another video that I have. I'm going to look for it, and I'm probably going to make a video on it. But this is one of Terry Eicher with this dude showing that he broke a Guinness Book of World Records record of filming himself from 12 miles away. 12 miles away in the desert, talking to the camera. He's like, well, Guinness, this is me talking to the camera. You need to put me in your record books. 12 miles away. 12 miles. He got that camera to video him. That there shows there is no curvature. Well, not with the distance they're telling us. Dancing around, talking mess, right? This video. I'm going to look for it, and then I'm going to make a video on it tomorrow. Sure as hell am. Right? These people, here's the thing, man. Liars are going to lie, just like you said, Mr. Jones. Liars are always going to lie. That's their defense, is a lie. And it's the clocks run out on them, and they're trying to use that same clock to run out on us. But we know what time it is. We know it's bullshit. We know they ain't got nothing, and they're checkmated. And this guy's a perfect. This dude right here, right? This Freemason Christian dude. It's a perfect example of that. Look at him. Idolatry. My man got that chain cross. He got that cross right there. For what? What's that supposed to symbolize? What is that? What's that cross supposed to symbolize when you wear it? That you know something that we don't know? Huh? What are you supposed to demonstrate with that cross? That's idol. And that's another thing, right? I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not. I'm really not, right? But when we do things like that, we wear these crosses and we wear these things, the Bible strictly prohibits this, right? I know I got a spy versus spy hat on. I got a gold chain on myself. I know I'm breaking some kind of rules myself. I got an anchor on my ring. I know, excuse me. I know I'm breaking all sorts of rules. I know I am. But this right here, this cross right here, what are you saying? What are you saying? That you read the Bible? And in this production, I remember this dude clearly saying, Whitsitt, I am a historian. A historian for what? Whose history? Are you doing legwork like John Levy and Jared Boosters? Are you doing legwork like Geomancy? Dudes that are actually taking this lie apart, tearing it down piece by piece? Are you doing work like them? Are you just giving a fucking degree from from New York Institute of whatever technology or some nonsense like that, right? Nassau Community College. You got a degree in history. Does that make you a fucking historian? These people make all these long ass claims that don't mean shit, and they try to fall back on their laurels of education that don't mean nothing. They don't mean shit. They aren't backed by. I'm not saying that this dude isn't experienced. I don't really know this dude's what his level of qualification is to be saying that he's a historian, but I don't see any grays on his. It's not saying that he doesn't use Just for Men. He looked, man, I've got sneakers, I've got boots older than he is. I've got underwear older than he is, which is kind of concerning, but I do. Pretty sure I do. Than he is. So for him to say he's a historian, who is he? And that's what he claims to Austin Whitsitt, which Austin Whitsitt is a smart dude all himself. But look at him. He's a baby. He's a baby, not a gray on his face, not a gray in his mustache. And I'm not saying that, wisdom is in the grays. I'm not saying that. But having a little bit of time on your belt and seeing things and experiencing things for yourself, that says a lot. So for you to be saying that you're a self-proclaimed historian, who gave you who authored for you? Who gave you that right to say? And then to argue with this guy that he obviously knows some things that maybe you don't know. Let's continue.
And he didn't want to really bring up God. And, so I just think, like, let the discussion go where it goes, wherever it lands, that's where it lands. If the discussion turns into a discussion about why would they lie, to hide the creator or to hide extra land, even if you got to speculate, the host will say, he's saying, like, I understand you don't want to say something because you don't know. Like, if you don't want to say, why would they lie? You don't want because you don't know. The host was saying, well, at least why do you think they would lie? And
that's where I disagree. That right there is where I disagree. Right now, if you want to get into a discussion as far as speculation, you save that shit for the end, right? But we're here to discuss why this earth is what it is. You're here to discuss otherwise with me, right? No, we're here to talk about the earth being level, true, and plain. That's it. Based off of what we can demonstrate, based off of what I can demonstrate. Anything outside of that, we can talk about at the end. We can speculate and we could spitball all day. But before that, it is flat, level, plain. Here's why. Why do you think it's a globe? And I'll shoot that shit out the sky. Simple. It's that simple. And these debates won't be all day. You won't be hating each other. You just go off of the evidence that you got before you. That's it. You don't have to hate each other about it because this dude started losing his mind. And it was a genuine anger. It looked like it was a genuine anger, a genuine hatred for Austin, right? And Austin was so used to it. He's so used to that kind of feedback from other people when he gives them what the truth is, right? That look at him. He's just like, us here armchair quarterbacking it. No. I agree with Austin in this regard. Like, you just take the licks. He don't want to listen. He don't want to listen. At the end of the day, you can analyze film or you can analyze this debate, and it clears that this dude losing his cool shows a lot about his character. And this dude, and it's not even a righteous anger. Father of lies has the world. The globe is a prison for the mind. Yes. But this dude obviously, and that's right on, Mr. Jones. It's a prison for your mind. But this dude does not have the spirit of truth in him because he's not even righteously angry at Austin Whitsitt. He almost treats Whitsitt as if he's blaspheming God's words, which he's not. He's basically detailing what God says in the scriptures. He's backing up God's claims with, yes, he's explaining this earth. He's backing what the good Lord says. That's it. So this righteous anger is totally misplaced because this quote unquote historian, whatever his name is, right? Guy with the glasses, he doesn't read his Bible. And if he truly read his Bible, he would know. And this brings us back to December timeframe, December 3rd, right? Where Pastor Dean Odell faced Pastor Greg Locke. And Pastor Greg Locke said, I'm going to beat you in this debate. And we're going to go off of scripture. And I predicted, I was like, oh, no, you ain't. You in for a big surprise, and you're not going to like what you get either. Right? And it was December 3rd, they had that debate, and Pastor Greg Locke got his tail kicked in. And since then, Pastor Greg Locke has been having the strangest luck at his church, right? New Globe Church or Globe Church, some stuff like that, they call it. They found 200 Bibles burnt at his freaking church. Y'all look it up. They found 200 Bibles burnt at Pastor Greg Locke's church a couple of weeks during Easter Sunday, during the Easter Sundays, the Easter ceremony. 200 Bibles burnt. You want to know? You want to know the signal that sends to people like me? It shows that Pastor Greg Locke does not care about the Bible at all. He does not care about salvation at all. He doesn't care about saving people's souls with the truth contained within the scriptures. He doesn't care about that. He cares about views. He cares about being right. He cares about, at least that's what it appears like. That's what it appears to me to be, right? There is no righteousness in that. This coming from the biggest sinner of all, me being one of the biggest sinners of all. I know I'm not perfect. But when I smell bullshit, I call it like I smell it, right? Because I've been around a lot of it. Many of us been around a lot of the smell of bullshit, and we're quite familiar with the smell. And when we smell it, we call it. We're used to it. 1 Chronicles 16:30, tremble before him, all the earth. The world is firmly established. It cannot be moved. Yes, cannot be moved. Truth shines in the lies, and lies don't comprehend. Exactly. The lies find it totally incomprehensible. They do. And now if this dude And so old boy is absolutely lost. He's totally lost. And I'm thinking he lost viewers because of this. Because him not holding his composure shows a lot, says a lot about him. Let's continue.
It was trying his best to avoid that whole discussion, but yeah, like I said, get into the discussion with them because it's a very interesting discussion. Now I've seen DITRH. He's more willing to get into this discussion. I don't know why these flat earthers are not willing to have this discussion. They don't want to get into that. They want to stick to the scientific part of the discussion, and they do not want to talk about this. But
Yes, we stick to the scientific part because we're making a scientific claim. Like that's important. If we want to go into other stuff, we save that at the end and we can speculate and spitball all day, right? Like feed your mind. I feel where you're coming from, but that right there is where we disagree. That's where we disagree. Like we have to talk about the science that we know, right? The science that we can describe, because at the end of the day we're describing the truth of what this place is, not the truth of what we think this place is, but the truth of what we know this place is based off of the evidence that we got. And the only evidence that we truly have is that everything is level and plain and true. That much we have that. Everything else we're shooting from the hip, man. We truly don't know. And I mean, it's so important to understand that, especially with these guys possibly going to Antarctica and looking at the 24-hour sun. What a lot of us, I think, fail to remember is that the Chinese have something. They have a fake sun too, or they're producing a fake sun where they can make fake sunlight. So what the fuck is it that they got up there? Nobody really, at least I don't really know. Right? They can say whatever they want. But if they can make a second sun or a fake sun, who's to say that they can't create a 24-hour sun? Who's to say that they can't? You know what I'm saying? See, these people could, if, and my thing is this, if the Chinese can do it, who's to say they're not in cahoots with reproduce it and to make this nonsense? And we already know about Project Bluebeam, but who's to say they ain't lying about that? Y'all know what I'm saying? We're in the midst. We've got so many lies that we're around. We're trying to get. It's like we're tangled with these lies. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Oh, what a tangled web they weave. When first they practice to deceive. Right? I think that's how it goes. Right? But one lie and then it compounds, and here's where we are, right? We can't even we're so confused. We're confused with everything. Sorry, y'all. But this is what those that want us confused, this is what's so good about using this confusion about where it is we live. Because if you could confuse us as to what's underneath our feet, you can confuse us as to what gender we are. You could confuse us as to us coming from space dust from the sky. You could confuse us to anything. Anything can confuse us if you can confuse us as to what it is our feet are planted on. You can confuse us about anything. That's the honest to God truth. It is. It is. And it's unfortunate that this guy in this debate can't see that with Austin Whitsitt. It's sad. You know what I'm saying? Especially him claiming to be a Christian. He can't see that we're being like this place has good people. It does. But this place, it belongs to Satan. It is Satan's realm. this place is the playground of the devil. It's the devil's playground, right? And everywhere we turn, there is a trap waiting for us. We have to be ready. Dude, listen, we just came from, which I feel we're still in the midst of, but we just had nonsense pandemic, right? That we had to deal with just a few years ago. Still, we're still in the midst of that. If these people lied about that, and we know that they lied about that, what makes you think they're going to tell you the truth about where it is we live? What, like this is what blows my mind. Like, they lied to you about this fucking juice that they stuck in your body. They lied to you about these wars that we're in. They're lying to you about these illegal people coming into this country and stealing and robbing from you in front of your face, sending people to these stores to rob your stores. And listen, this is what they do. I want guys to get this through your head, right? This is what they do. They send these people in these stores in New York, Los Angeles, California, Chicago, to rob these stores. You don't see nobody a store in Louisiana to rob the store, in Texas to rob the store, in Alabama to rob the store. You know why? Because somebody would take a piece out and lay waste to them. But they know they can do this nonsense in they know they could do this nonsense where they robbing people. They robbing these stores in New York, New Jersey, Chicago, Los Angeles. Do you know why they could do that? Nobody could carry a fucking piece in those places. They're basically letting you know. They are letting the American people know this is what's coming down the pike, and there's nothing you could do about it. And if they rob that store near you, you're going to have to let them freaking rob it. You're going to have to let them rob you blind. And this is part of the mass confusion, because anybody in their right mind would not. This is just one of the many effects of confusion. Like, you'll let people rob you. I don't know if you guys know this, but in Canada, you have the newscasters. The government is saying, hey, the police are telling the people, hey, leave your key fob in front of your house so that when the robbers come, when the thieves come to rob you, come get your shit, they can come get your car key fob without any hassle. This is how confused human beings are in the North American continent. Rest of the world. But I know here in the North American continent, this is how fucked up the mind is. And with this fucked upness that we tend to think with, this is how the government wants you to think, that this world is a big wet water ball hurtling through space, doing all these fantastic maneuvers. This is how fucked up we are as people in America. I don't know about the rest of the world because I don't live out in the rest of the world. I have, but I don't right now. I live here, right? This is how jacked up it is in the North American continent. And so basically, they're showing you, they're training your mind. When they show you these people getting robbed at these stores, right? These Saks Fifth Avenues, these Gucci, all this, and these people with hoods busting up these places and robbing these places, and that the people are letting them do that. They are training your mind. This is another way in which they are training your mind to allow for this to happen. This is part of the mass confusion, mass deception. This ball it's just part of it. It's part of it. I know I sound like I'm getting loud. I'm probably getting loud and a little bit over the top with it. But no, like I truly feel this ball is part of it. This is how they can just drive you into that spiral of confusion. You're going to let somebody rob you and it's going to be like, oh, well, they just rob people. That's all. what it is. People get robbed sometimes, and then you just put your hands up. There's nothing, and then you know what you say? There's nothing I can do about it. That's what they're expecting out of you. They're expecting you to just give up. They're expecting you to let them run roughshod on you. Listen, people, I don't know what the rules are in your state, but I highly recommend you use your better judgment. I don't know. I'll say again, I don't know what the rules are in your state. I don't know. I don't claim to know, right? But you need to use your better judgment. You have to. You have to. Because listen, criminals are going to be criminals. Evil people are going to be evil. Liars are going to lie. Your best intent is never going to stop evil people from being evil. It just won't. It just won't. And what does this have to do with the flat earth? What this has to do with the flat earth is that you keep your wits about you. The flat earth is the true earth. The true earth is the basis of all truths that we were all lied to about. The true earth. It's the basis of all truths that we were lied to about. That's it. And my is this, and a lot of people's thing should be this, is if they can convince you that place is what they said it was, which we now know it's not, everything else they can convince you of it. They can convince you that you don't matter. They can convince you that you came from an ape and a monkey. They can convince you that you don't need your kidneys, you don't need your toes, you don't need your appendix. You don't need these things, even though God gave you however number of them, whatever he put in your body. It's not like it was an extra set of screws. No, you totally need these things. These people are going to lie to you. They're going to tell you that these juices, that they're good for you, that you need them, only to turn out that you can't have kids now. A lot of you can't freaking have kids. A lot of you can't reproduce. A lot of you are getting ailments that you normally didn't have slowly. And this is all done deliberately. And part of it is because many of us have been easily manipulated. And we're being killed slowly. And while we're being killed, another thing is happening, right? They're erasing our memory. And they're replacing our memory with a foreign element. They're getting rid of the American memory of how we thought America was. And it's being replaced. Good night, sweetheart. Good night. Good night, Ida. You have a good night. Yeah, and it's being replaced. That's right. Joshua. The sun's standing still. Man, I feel like I'm rambling on, family. Guys, I apologize for rambling. I apologize for that. But I want you guys to use your better judgment. Use your brains. Use your brains. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed to use your brains. Don't be ashamed to be honest with it, right? Don't be ashamed to call a strike and a ball a ball. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid, right? Your brain is there for a reason. God gave you a brain to use it to your advantage, to think. Don't be afraid to break away from the pack, because the pack could get you killed. The pack will bring you down the alley or the galley of slaughter. The sheep mentality. That's what a lot of folks call it. Don't be a sheep. Stop thinking like a sheep. Sheep will get you killed, will get you eaten, will get you processed to be eaten, to be food for the elite. That's not what we want. Not everybody could be a lion. Some people need to follow. That's okay. But have your wits about you. have your wits about you and follow what's true. It's okay. Follow what's true. Whew. Rumble and YouTube family. What a night, huh? What a night. We've been at it for 3 hours and 20 minutes, man. We've been at it heavy tonight. And I really appreciate you guys showing up tonight, man. We're at it heavy, but I do have to be up in a couple of hours. Sorry. I do have work tomorrow, and I'm sure you guys do. But I truly appreciate you guys, especially if you're part of the Flat Earth Philippines. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate y'all for being here. If you're out there in Hawaii, love you. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you. Thank you for being up here with me, in the afternoon time, morning time, whatever it is out there in the high time. Guam, all of y'all out there, if you're here with me, I love you. I appreciate you. But if you're here with me and you in the States, man, y'all some riders. Y'all some riders because it's almost 2 a.m. And I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for coming out, man. We didn't have the ghost tonight. The Ghost Tribe usually makes his way in here. Shout out to the ghost. But what I'm going to do, guys, is with the videos that I presented, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them in the description box so you guys could take a look at them, at your own leisure whenever. But come back to this channel here in the next day or two, and these videos that I presented will be in the description box. And I highly recommend those channels. And then we have a new channel, Conspiracy Realities, too. He's going to have that We Lied to You About Gravity Michio Kaku video. So I highly recommend you subscribe to him. Conspiracy Realities, right? And his logo shows CGI. It shows a NASA symbol, but it says instead of NASA CGI. Anyway, Rumble and YouTube family, it has been quite an honor to be serving you tonight. And it has been quite a show tonight. 3 hours and 20, almost 25 minutes. We've been in it heavy tonight. We've been going over quite a bit. But I'm going to have to call it quits for tonight. I got to. It's almost 2 a.m. and I got to be up. And y'all got to be up, right? All my American family. But if you of the Philippines, of Guam, of Hawaii, I love you guys. Of Japan, wherever y'all from. All right. Love y'all. UK, Canada, don't matter. Right. I love y'all, man. And I appreciate y'all coming through and doing this with us tonight. Thank you. Anyway, Rumble and YouTube family, I'm going to have to call it quits for the night, man. It's 2 a.m. I know I said that a million times, but I wish you guys the best. Nothing but the best. Health, wealth, love, joy, prosperity, longevity, wisdom, 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 wisdom. And with that, make sure you guys keep it about you. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these channels in the comment section so you guys could later check it out and chop it up then. Wisdom, 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 family. And with that, I love you. I'm out. Aloha. Good night. Avita Sane. You guys have a good one. Peace.